Give me one sec here. Crank down my computer's fans, because they're loud. Alrighty, that should help a bit. Alright, welcome back. And hello and good morning, Optical Antenna. Thanks for tuning in to whatever stream we're on. What day of the week is it? Free Read Fridays. I am your intrepid narrator, Fraggith, and today we're going to be reading some more of the greatest cosmic horror love story ever told, The Nightland, by William Hope Hodgson. Hodgson. So, where were we? Where were we previously? So our boy, our nameless protagonist, he is never named, as far as I know. I think there might be some, like, community names for him, but the protagonist has successfully rescued his one true love. I forgot to turn off the stream starting soon thing. His one true love, Naani / Mirdath. She may or may not be the reincarnation of Mirdath, his beloved one from back the present day as far as the authorial narration voice is concerned, which could be in the 1800s. It's not entirely clear. So he's successfully rescued her from the outskirts of the Lesser Redoubt, or Lesser Pyramid, and has so far escorted her safely through some trials and travails, through the Gorge, as well as some other horrors around on her side of the Nightland, on her portion of the Nightland, the portion of the Nightland from which she hails, I should say. So they've gone through the Gorge, including dealing with an immense slug beast, just a giant meat-eating slug thing. They got away from that. Let's see. So they've come to that area where there's water, forests, and volcanoes, and the air is denser and thicker due to their lowered altitude, I guess. So they are transitioning out of the Gorge. The country of the seas. I knew there was another name for it. He capitalizes lots of proper titles, and some of those proper titles are many words long. In this case, country of the seas is just country and seas being capitalized, so nothing, the C and S, respectively, I should say. I don't think there's anything else salient. I think that's pretty much it. As you shall think. Alright, with that, let me find out where I bracketed myself to end. It's a pretty good length. Let me see how far that last chunk is. How big is the last chunk? Pretty big. But that chapter there is really long, so I can't really divvy that up too easily. Well, actually, it's not so bad. Let's get to the end of where we're at and see how we're doing. All right. I think we're good. Okay. As ever, if there are any audio issues or anything, please tell me. I don't know if there's no feedback. I went for years with pre-existing incredibly crappy audio quality, and we have slightly better audio quality now from what I can tell. So if there are any issues, do not hesitate. I am happy to tweak things on the fly if need be, if I can figure out how. I am not a professional, I regret to say. Alrighty. I think that'll do it for now. I will probably, if people heckle me, I can transition to different narration voices just to spice things up, as I have for the last couple weeks. Keeps me from going crazy with the prose. Alright, give me one sec to whet my whistle, and we will get narrating. Chapter 13. Homeward by the Shore. Now we came presently out of that sad and dreary place that did go upward of the great mountains, and which I have named the upward gorge, and we to halt soon between the feet of the mountains, beyond the mouth part of the gorge. And Naani alway to look every way about her, and to breathe very quick, and her eyes to be gone bright with wonder and the seeing of new things, and the coming of freedom from so great a dread. And she turned now, and did look upward into the dark of the gorge, and to spy upon the great mouth thereof, and to be feared then, and must run a greater way downward into the lightness of the country of the seas, and to come once more to pause, and to look backward, and with an awe and a relieved soul, and so again to the wonder of the spreaded country and the great sea, and did near to laugh and cry in the same moment, with the amazement and gladness and great astonishment that did be upon her. And she to turn constant this way and that, and to be never ceased of looking, and of deep breathings of wide air, and of deep breathings of the wide air. For never in that life had she been in a broad place of light, as you shall have perceived. And we to feel, both, that there did be no more need to talk hushed, as we did alway in the gloom and narrow dark of the gorge. And surely she to shout, as a child that doth try an echo, and her voice to go very pretty into the distance, and to be lost afar off in that country. And lo, in a moment an echo to come out of the dark mountains to our backs, so that we looked round very sudden, but whether the echo did be truly an echo, or some strangeness, or some unnatural call to come downward out of the gloom and horror of the gorge, we did be all unsure, and indeed must run downward a while more, until that we did be all breathed, and to halt presently where we did feel to be utter free of the gorge and of the strangeness that did seem to our minds in that moment to lie upward in the darkness of the great mountains. And surely we did look about for a flat rock to be for our use, and we came presently to a place nice to our purpose, that did be yet upward over the land, and we climbed up on the rock. Yes, it is up on. It is two words. Climbed upon would have worked for my brain, but you separate the mountain. For some reason, we have trouble. And surely we did look about for a flat rock to be for our use, and we presently came presently, whatever, to a place nice to our purpose, that did be yet upward over the land, and we climbed up onto the rock, and sat thereon to have our food and drink. And as we eat and drank, we did sit very close and happy, but yet to have a wise looking about anigh to us, so that we be caught by no danger of the Humpt Men, or by any other danger there might be. That might be. And alway the maid did question, and did stare afar o'er the country, and to have a shining wonder and joy of the sea, and to be stirred in all her being, so that she was pained with vague and sudden memories, that did be as strange dreams, and all mixed with pleasure and pain. And indeed she sudden to weeping, and to need that she be in mine arms, until that she know herself once again, and so to her dear natural joy and way. And oft did mine own speak upon the clear wonder of the air, as it did seem to her, and to tell me it did seem likewise, that had lived my life also in a dark land, as you do know. I misread that. I think I read all the words, but the intent and meaning of the sentence was thrown. And oft did mine own speak upon the clear wonder of the air, as it did seem to her, and to me it did seem likewise, that had lived my life also in a dark land, as you do know. And she to break sudden from her rapture, and to set back her speech an eternity with vague words, and memories so olden and englamoured that they did be as moonlight that once hath shone. And in a moment she to be forward again into that far future time and speech, and all her being to be close unto me, and oft in a solemn silence of the heart.
and the greatness of the sea to call unto her with an olden voice, and to half waken her, and I with her to be thus half wakened. Yet had I been not thus as I did come mine outward way, but truly I did stir to the stirring of the maid, and all mine olden thoughts that did be my memory dreams, to come afresh upon my spirit. And so we two to sit there all shaken with dreamings that did concern happenings of the olden world that did lie upward in that dreadful night, which made a mighty and deeply roof over that country. And surely I am dumb, in that I have no speech to make known to you all the troublings and stirrings of our spirits that we did know in that moment. And far off, by miles beyond the feet of the mountain, where went the shore of the sea, upon our left, there was a great mist and steam, and this to be that mist and steam that I did come through on mine outward way, and Naani to ask concerning it, and I to tell her so much as I knew, and how that we must indeed come presently through it upon our journey. And she to be in wonder of the volcanoes that did burn in the sea, and in this place and that of the wide country, and the height and grandness to exalt her, and in the same time to give her a strange humbleness of her mind, so that presently I did take her into mine arms, for I must kiss her, because that she did be so utter a sweet maiden, and lovely with interest and naturalness. And truly she to kiss me in turn, and to make her questionings between her kissings, and this to be because she did yearn for a greater knowing of the country, but also, as I do have to think, because she did be sweetly impudent unto me, and this to be of her joy. And presently she to kiss me thrice very passionate and warm upon the mouth, and immediately to take my shoulders with her small hands, that did seem so pretty upon my broadness and upon the metal of the armour. And she to strive thus that she shake me to a speedier answering, and she all that while to be full of a dear naughtiness, and to need that she be kissed very hard. So lewd, and I to answer her, but after mine own fashion, which did be a word between each kiss that I gave to her, and she very quick and naughty to put her hand between our lips, and I then to kiss the palm that did be in my way, and did be very small and pretty. And she, when I had no thought, to open her fingers very quick, and kiss me through between the fingers, and immediately to shut the fingers, so that I did be stopped from the same.
Is this foreplay?
And afterward I made her to stand upon the rock, and I set free her hair over her shoulders, and I took then the boots from her, so that her little feet, there they are, did show bare and pretty. And she, at the first, half to refuse me, but afterward to stand very dear and obedient that I should have my way with her, and to be a little shy, and the more pretty because of her sweet blushings. And surely, when that I had her to my likings, I stepped back a little pace, and looked at her. And she to look again at me, very quaint and naughty, and then to turn her about, very grave, and to make pretend that she did be a dummy figure. And surely, when she did be come right round, and to face me again, and had a very sedate look, she stretched out her pretty foot, all in a moment, and put her pink toes sudden upon my lips. Oh boy, and I to be so in surprise that I had not wit to do aught ere she had them back swift from me. And she ere she had them back swift from me, and she then to make one glad spring into mine arms, and to want that she be hugged, and to be loved very great. And I to laugh, all tender, for I loved her so utter, as you do know, and I to tell her, as you sure likewise to have told your maid, that I wanted a pocket sufficient, that I might have her therein always a nigh to my heart, and this thing I say to her. And this thing I to say to her, as a man that doth love shall say it, and you to know the way of it so well as I. And she to laugh very mischievous, and to tell me that she should truly tickle me, if that I carried her that wise, ay, and to pinch me too. And I to have no answer, save that I shake her very gentle, but indeed she to kiss me very naughty on the mouth, in the midst of my shaking. And truly, what shall a man do with such an one? Truly indeed. And she then to want me more to be more sedate, and to be set down upon the rock, and she to make me turn around, so that she should come at the pouch which did be upon my back. And she gat thence the comb that was a fitment, and did comb her pretty hair, and I to sit and talk with her, and to jest, with a heart that did be so light as it had not been for a great while. For though I did dread the Humpt Men and the monstrous animals of the country of seas, I had not any abiding horror of aught that I had seen in that country. For there seemed a naturalness in all things, so that I did have no loathing, neither any fear of an evil force. And presently, when that the maid had combed her hair, she to bind it upon her head, but I to ask that she leave it upon her shoulders, because that it did be so pretty, and she to smile at me, and to be happy to my pleasuring. Now we did be truly sedate, and to set our gear together, and I to put the boots upon the maid, and afterward we to begin again to journey downward into the country of the seas. And we went at a good pace, but not to bring us to any great weariness, for it was mine intent that we rest for our slumber upon this side of the place where did be the steam of the boilings, and that was anigh to the shore of the sea, as you shall mind. And we at this time to be passing along the feet of the mountains unto the place of the steam, and to go this wise for 6 good hours, and still to be a great hour off that part, for we went not so fierce as did be the speed of my... Oh, okay. My head skipped. My brain skipped ahead. My mouth didn't quite get there. For we went not so fierce as did be the speed of mine outward way, which was utter strong, as you do mind, to have gone with me in all my journey. Oh, that have gone with me on... Yes, okay, he's saying. If you've been paying attention, you know. Yes, okay. I'm going to reread this sentence. And we at this time to be passing along the feet of the mountains unto the place of the steam, and to go this wise for 6 good hours, and still to be a great hour off that part. For we went not so fierce as did be the speed of mine outward way, which was utter strong, as you do mind, that have gone with me in all my journey. And so, when we had walked 6 hours, we did be gone something beyond the 18th hour of that day's journeying, and to be very ready to our slumber. Sorry about that. Are there any rolling pictures? There should be a slideshow going with the covers. Let me check to see if YouTube's doing it on my end. If it's not, then I will have to figure out what it is doing. Let's find out. Try hitting refresh, maybe? Here we go. Is it? Yeah, it's rotating pictures for me on my end. So yeah, try refreshing it. That might do it. Thank you for telling me, though, so I can double check. Let's see. Ah, yes, we have another now. We had a now earlier, but it was a really short interlude until the next one. Time to change it up. Now presently we found a tall rock, very hard to climb, that had a flat top so great as may be twice my length every ways, and this to be very good to our purpose. And when we were come safe to the top, we to eat and drink, and presently to sleep, and to have the cloak under us, as did be the will of the maid, for the country did be utter warm and nice, so that we had no occasion for covering. And surely we waked, both of us, when that we had slept 7 good hours, and we sat upward, and looked newly at each and looked newly each at the other, and to be as that we did see each other anew in that good light, and have a fresh joy each in the look of the other. And she to come into mine arms, and to kiss, and to need that she be kissed, and truly we both to have our need, but yet to be something for the more hungry of the other, for the having. Yeah, YouTube does that sometimes, as does Twitch for that matter. I've found with streams. Twitch is usually a little better about it, and it could be something to do with my setup making it more prone to hitching like that, because I tend not to have the stream up at the same time to look at it, to make sure, mostly because it'll be pumping audio through, and that can be a little distracting. I can mute it, I know. Anyway. Let's see, where were we? Ah, yes. But yet to be something the more hungry of the other, for the having. And mine own then to make our breakfast, and the water to fizz very strong and surprising, and we to eat and drink, and to be utter happy with each with the other, and to talk on this thing and that, and the maid to look about as we eat, and she to look afar off at the wonders and the newness of the country to her knowledge, the newness of the country to her knowledge, but I to look near, lest there be any danger that might be anigh. And in a while mine own to draw my gaze to the mountains that the gorge came through, and in verity, now that I did look in ease, I to see with her how that they did be truly monstrous, even as a monstrous wall that did go upward for ever, until that they were gone out of the light of that country, into the dark night of the deathly upper world that did be lost an eternity. And I to mind that I had some vague thoughts this wise, on the outward way, but now I to have ease, not cease. There's no extra C there, you narrator. But now I to have ease, and the maid to speak with, and so to perceive odd matters the more. And I to tell you this little thing, so that you shall perceive the way that restfulness did be upon me, by compare with the outward going. And truly we had no great speed with our talk and our eating, but in the end did make somewhat to hurry, because that we did be conscious that we leaned to slackness. And indeed we came down then pretty speedy from the rock where we did sleep, and had forward to our way at a good pace. And when we had gone a while, we to begin to hear the far hissing of the steam, and the noise of the upward burstings of waters that did boil, and the sound to be very strange, but I to have heard it before, as you do know, so that it to trouble me oh my gosh, golly gee willikers. Let's try this again. And when we had gone a while, we to begin to hear the far hissing of the steam, and the noise of the upward burstings of waters that did boil, and the sound to be very strange, but I to have heard it before, as you do know, so that it to trouble me the less than the maid. Oh my gosh, that is the most clumsy. So that it to trouble me the less than the maid. Oh my lord. I feel like I'm having to learn how to speak again with this. It's written in a very different grammatical syntactical fashion. It is like decoding it the entire time. And I to assure her, as she to come nigh to me, and this wise we to enter presently into the steam. And we went then for more than 3 hours, and I had the maid to my back that I should be the first, and this I did, that she have no danger to walk into a boiling pool in the mazingness of the steam, which was everywhere. And I to be something guided in my path by the shore of the sea, which did be unto our left alway, only that we could see neither the sea nor otherwise, except that we got so close that we near into the water. And truly the sea to seem to boil in parts, and there to be hot pools in all places, so that who should say with ease whether we did go by one of the great hot pools, or by the true sea? And this, our constant puzzle, shall be likewise to you, and you to perceive how that we did go utter weary. And about us from every part there did come the strange burstings and shriekings and whistlings of the boil of the waters breaking upward from the deep world. And odd whiles the sounds to be as of great monsters, and the earth to shake under us, and other whiles there to be a hush and only the steam about us, and somewhere in the distance and uncertainness a low piping of some steam cranny, very strange and lonesome sounding. And when it did be somewheres nigh upon the 4th hour, we came out of the thick steam, and the pipings and the roarings to be to our rearward, and soon the steam to be gone thin as but a mist, and the noises to be very far seeming, and presently we to become clear out into the air of that country. And the maid now to perceive the trees which did be in great forests unto our right hand, while that the shore of the sea did go alway upon our left. And she to be utter in wonder of the trees, and to need that she pluck branches, and smell of them, and look at each leaf, and so to be all stirred. For never in that life did she to have seen such a matter as those great trees did be, but yet to be all stirred by vague memories that did seem no more than dreams. And you to think but a moment, and to perceive how the thing did be with her, and you to have been likewise stirred, if that you did be so strangely waked in a corner part of the heart, though but a little matter to wake you. What? And you to think but a moment, and to perceive how the thing did be with her, and you to have been likewise stirred, if that you did be so strangely waked in a corner part of the heart, though but a little matter to wake you. It's that last bit that's throwing me. Now, when the 6th hour did be full come, we made a halt in a wise place, and had there our tablets and the water. And afterward the maid bid me that I take her unto a warm pool that did be near by, and to ask that I turn from her, but yet to be a nigh for her protector, as I did be ever. And so she to wash, and to make herself happy with a sweet cleanness that did be proper to her, and afterward, when she did be done, she to act watch, whilst I to mine, and to help me in all matters, that she was able, and truly I to be happy indeed that she did so have delight, to attend upon me, and to treat me mother-wise, yet truly with her maid heart not all hid, as you have perceived this time and that. And surely thus did we go alway in these matters, and oft that I have not space to have told, and oft that you shall remember, if that I do be too full of other happenings to give heed to tell upon. And afterward we went to our journeying again, and to talk upon this thing and that thing, and I to be watchful as we talked, and to tell the maid that she keep her eyes wary, but yet not to be of unease. And when we did go this wise for 7 good hours, we were come nigh opposed to the bright burning fire hill that did be offward in the sea, and had made me a warm light in that time when I did sleep in the tree, as you do remember. And truly, as I shall here mind you, we did be past 7 hours coming to this place, from the part where the steam did be, yet had I gone that space upon the outward way at a speed that was greater. But truly I might not set so great a pace to the maid, save mayhap odd whiles, and this thing I beg that you have alway in your mind, and so to understand why that we did be oft long upon this part of the journey, and that, by compare with mine outward going. And in verity I had set off our hour for food, because that I saw that we did come nigh to the place where the tree did be, and I to know that the maid should like to eat and drink anigh to that place, and to know that I did sleep there. I don't think they've actually had any sex at all. They're shockingly chaste. It's just kisses and then, like, nap time. Also, foot fondling. Oh my gosh, the foot fondling. And occasional tickles, I guess. But yeah, there's not much. I mean, nothing explicit, certainly. He did say that he has made comments about ensuring that her maidenhood is intact or something. Not maidenhead, but like that she remains a maiden. So I'm assuming they're not, just kissing, like, a lot. Also, again, the foot stuff. Wow. Anyway, and in verity I had set off for food, yes, that I did sleep there, and surely I took her to the tree, and when that I had told her, she to beg me that I indulge her, and that we go upward to that branch where I did sleep, and there to eat our tablets. And I to be willing, and to enter into her wishing, for, indeed, there was no danger in the climb, and I to go alway below her, so that I could be surety for her safeness. And we came up to the great branch, and she to make how we should sit, and I to have to show just where I did lie, and she to look very close, and to see that my weight had surely marked the hardness of the armour upon the bark, and she then to be upon that branch alone, as she did eat and drink, and to look outward at the light from the fire-hill, and to be very hushed, and to think, and I not to disturb her with speech. And when she did be done, she gat from the branch, and kissed the place where I did lie. And lo, in a moment a thought came into her, and she drew her knife, and cut out a piece of the bark, and put it into her breast, to be for a keepsake, and so to seem somewise contented. And truly I told her about the great beast, when we were come down again to the earth, and she to cry out, and to show me that there did be yet the mark where the belly of the monstrous beast did brush upon the earth, as it ran, and moreover the broken places of the footmarks, and she by this to see how great a beast it did be, but yet did it be a little thing beside the slug, only that it did be a thing of horn and hardness of skin, as you have perceived. In my mind, I envision a Triceratops or Ankylosaurus or something. I cannot imagine that it actually is one, but who knows. And truly I do mind how that the observings of the maid did bring very keen to me how that there had passed but 17 days since that I did go onward from this place, and this to seem very strange and scarce credible unto me, for I had thought it somewise as a great time, and truly this to be because it was so marked by stress of the mind and great happenings, and you do agree in this thing. But yet, also, we shall truly mind that those times that I have called days did hold oft the hours of 2 days, and mayhap 3, as you do remember. Now we went onward, then, to our... He's saying that sometimes the breaks between eating and sleeping and whatnot, like they'll be, like, walking for, like, 30 hours at a whack sometimes, but not always. So it kind of stretches and condenses... It stretches the, amount of time that they were out there, or condenses, rather, the amount of time they were out there, relatively speaking. Because, again, there's no day-night cycle. Because all the sky is dark. Right now they're in a place that has a surprising amount of light because of all the volcanoes and fire pits. Maybe bioluminescent things, though he doesn't say that outright. It's well lit, comparatively speaking. Where were we? 2 days, and mayhap 3, as you do remember. Ah, yes, it was a now. Now we went onward, then, to our journeying, and I to make to carry the maid, as ever. After that she had walked 12 hours, though she did walk 13 hours this time, as you have seen. And she to say that she go now upon her own feet through the next 6 hours, and to ease me from the labour that did be needful to carry her. But I to know that she did be like to all... oh, gosh, here we go, another... but I to know how that she did be like to be all gone of her strength this wise, in but a day or two, and we to make the better speed, if that I'd keep to my way, and to have her to walk 12 hours of every journey, and afterward to come into mine arms. For, truly, she did be bred less hardy than I, as you shall think from all that I have told concerning the peoples of the Lesser Pyramid. They've been starved of the earth current, which is the, I don't know, mana. It's the energy force of the earth. It's definitely not, what was it from Final Fantasy VII? The life stream. It's absolutely the life stream. It's definitely not. It's totally the live stream. Right. So, she walks for 12 hours, he carries her for 6. Anyway, is what he's saying. Here we are. Oh, I didn't finish the paragraph. Whoops. For truly she did be bred less hardy than I just transitioned back. For truly she did be bred less hardy than I, as you shall think from all that I have told concerning the peoples of the Lesser Pyramid, and moreover she was yet something weakened, as I did think, by the dreadful month of her lonesomeness and escapings, before that I was come to succour her. And truly, as I did carry her, the maid did make remark of her wonderment concerning me, in that I did be so hard of my body, and set in the determination of my mind. And in verity I did be exceeding strong, and of great hardness of body, and mayhap my will did be somewhat this way also, else do I think that I had never borne to come unto mine own through so much desolation. And I to smile very happy upon her, for I did love that I was so strong, and very truly in delight that mine own maid did take gladness in this thing. And you to mind how you did be also in the love days, and so to have nice understanding of my naturalness and human pride. And surely the maid did nestle unto me, as she did talk, even somewise as a child shall come nigh to the mother, but yet also as a maid doth love to be nigh unto her man, if that she doth truly love. And I to lift her more nigh to my lips, but she to refuse to kiss me, and to be a sweet impertinence that did lie in mine arms. Yet when I did make to lower her again to the way that had her easy to... What? Oh. Yet when I did make to lower her again to the way that had her easy to carry, she to slip her pretty face very snug under my chin, and to kiss me there, after her own fashion, and afterward to be willing that she be as usual into mine arms. Now, as I set the maid again comfortable, it seemed to me that she was something tender, and sudden it came to me that mayhap the armour to be very hard and painful unto her, and I to ask this thing of her in a moment, and she to see that I would not be put off, and so to tell me. And truly, I was utter angered with myself, and somewise also with her, in that she did not waken mine unthinkingness to this thing. And I set her instant to the earth, and made her to bare her shoulders to me, and truly they did be much bruised where she had lain so oft in mine arms, against the hardness of mine armour. And I to be so angered that I near shook her, and she to see how I did be, and that she did be nigh to be shaken, because that I was grown so angry that she should let herself come to this foolish hurt, that yet I did know was very dear unto her secret heart. And in truth she did put up her lips to me, very sudden, and with a strange naughtiness, that she to have her own way with me, to tempt me from mine anger, and yet she did have to like. And in verity I near slapped her then upon her pretty shoulders, but that she ceased from her tempting of me, and instead she turned her shoulders to me, even as a child, that I buttoned her garment for her. And surely, when I had buttoned her garment, she came round unto me, and closed her hand, so that it did be a little fist, even as I did love her to do, because that it was so small beside my great hand. And she slipped her shut hand into mine, and surely I let it stay within, very quiet, and made not to close upon it, as I did wont. W-O-N-T, won't. No apostrophe, it's the other won't. And the maid did move her hand around in mine, that she make me to take notice upon her, and to grasp her little fist. Yet I did be very stern, for I was truly angered, and neither did I put her hand from mine, nor made to hold it, but only to let it bide. Yet truly I to be something stirred in the heart part by her pretty ways. Heart parts and brain elements. And in a little while she took her hand from out of mine, and did have daring to be cold unto me, and mine anger then to be quaintly renewed, and to think that she did well need to be whipped. And she made a naughty and foolish impudence upon that which I said to her, so that presently I did say that she did need such as should make her to heed her manners. But yet, as you shall conceive, I to know inwardly all that time how that even this true naughtiness did not stir me to proper anger, but more that it made me masterful, and to lack not that I make her to know how truly that I did be her master. Oh, I mangled that. Mostly because it is a mangling of the English language, even at the time period, which, again, it was written in 1912, 1917? Something like that. I have to look this up literally every time. I just cannot remember. 1912. So I'm going to try this again. And in a little while she took her hand from out of mine, and did have daring to be cold unto me. Oh, wait. Yes, no, that's where we are. And mine anger then to be quaintly renewed, and to think that she did well need to be whipped. And she made a naughty and foolish impudence upon that which I said to her, so that presently I did say that she did need such as should make her to heed her manners. But yet, as you shall conceive, I to know inwardly all that time how that even this true naughtiness did not stir me to proper anger, but more that it made me masterful, and to lack not that I make her to know truly that I did be her master, and in the same time to be strangely touched in a very deep and secret place of mine heart. And truly love doth have strange actings upon the heart. And the maid to ask me in a very saucy fashion, that did be intention to anger me, what I did mean that she to need. And truly I said that she did go the way to earn that she be flogged like any boy, and I to mean actual all that I say, which doth something amaze me now, but, as I do know, I yet to be constant stirred inwardly by her beloved quaintness that did be always so dainty, even when that she did mean her naughtiness to be truly to anger me. And lo, when I told the maid this thing, that she did well go to earn a sharp reproof, she turned in a quick instant, and came close to me, all tender and small, and to need to be nigh to me, and she slipped both her closed hands into the one of mine, and truly they did be little fists. And because I could be no more stern with mine own, I put mine arm about her, and she did nestle to me, so that all my being did want to be a shield about her. And she to hark very quiet and humble to my counsellings, and in the end did be so strangely hushed that I looked down to where her pretty face did be hid against mine armour, as she did love to do, when that I did be those odd whiles a little stern with her. And I held her face away from mine armour, and surely she did be smiling, very quiet and naughty, so that I perceived that she did be good only for that time, and did be like to show again this wrongful and impudent spirit. Yet I not then to be in trouble of the future, but to hope only that I do wisely, if that she show again this waywardness. And truly, I to perceive now that I did be very young, but anywise, as you do know, I to act alway from the natural telling of my heart. And I shook Naani a little for this naughty spirit which did not be gone from her, for I perceived that my manhood had but stirred the woman in her to that strange quick humbleness that had seemed to be a quenching of her wayward that had seemed to be a quenching of her. I'm going to try this again. And I shook Naani a little for this naughty spirit which did not be gone from her, for I perceived that my manhood had but stirred the woman in her to that strange humbleness that had seemed to be a quenching of her wayward unwisdom, and truly it had not been stilled, but only sunken for a little moment in the uprising of her dear nature, which had responded unto me. and the maid to look at me from under her lids, as I did shake her with gentleness, and I to know that mine own did be a wondrous maiden, full of all life and spirit, and to be held wisely, and to be loosed wisely, all as did be for the best to bring out the uttermost of her goodness which did be in all her being, and to be very lovely, and to make me feel as that I did be a giant that held a white flower very tender, but I to feel also that I did be her master. And this mayhap you to understand, if that you look into your hearts. And by all my telling, you to know that I did be very dainty with mine own maid, that did be all of daintiness, but yet I to be masterful, as did be my nature, and a very proper way it did be with the maid, so that she did be alway reasonable in the main, and this to come out of her love, which did have pleasure to know that I did be master unto her, all in the same, while that she did fight to show that I did be otherwise. And truly, and in part by this same showing, you shall perceive that her naughtiness to come likewise from her love, and the way that my nature did work upon her. We've got another now, so we can change things up. So no hot for Chaucer like prose. Yeah, no, it's agony, dude. it's done deliberately too. Like, it's not like, oh, this is just how they wrote back then. It's not. It's not even how he writes. Like, there's short stories in this very same volume that aren't like this. Take, for example, here, I'll read you an example from just picking at random. Kind, and gentle is she. Love, said little Tripe Jones gloomily. Of course I know what love is. I'm bothered with it. Always have been. It's you great hulking brutes as don't know. You ain't got the heart, not for all your size. Look at you. Jell Murphy, the big man sitting on the next cot, nodded soberly. I guess you're right, Tripe, he said slowly. I never felt that way, nohow, but I'd like mighty fine to. I used often to say a man hadn't come proper alive until he'd gone and fallen in love, but it's never come my way.
Gone, said Tripe jealously. There's Maggie, the Colonel's wife's maid. The Colonel's wife's maid is proper struck on about you. She won't never give me a word, and she never stoppin' thinking about, and me never stoppin' thinking about her.
It is basically written like that. I am admittedly adding the F for THs. Jell Murphy shook his head. That ain't no use to me, he said. She don't count with me. I ain't said a word to make her like me, and she ain't my sort. I want someone that'll make me feel like I'm going to do some blessed thing. Maggie's a nice woman, but she's not what I got in my thoughts anyhow.
A bloomin' princess you wants, said Tripe Jones, sneering whimsically. You got some neck onto you. You got some neck onto you, you have. Your idees ain't no sort of a bloomin' privet.
I don't know what that means.
Maybe you locked her off of your hand in art to the Colonel's daughter. Give me Maggie. She's a proper dandy.
Anyway, my point is, he doesn't write like this. He doesn't have to write like this. But he chose to do an entire book like this, the way he did, and it is pain. It is hard, and it did not do well. Like, every single review I've read of it from the time period was like, yeah, his prose is fucking brutal. It's a nice story, but oh my god, you have to get through so much to get there, even at the time. Anyway. So let's, where's the now? Where's the next now? Okay, I can do something, wow, are we really gonna do, oh, we're doing this, okay.
Now I to shake the maid very gentle, as I have said, and with much that did be of play, but in the same wise there to be also somewhat of tender reproof. And surely that naughty maid to spring very light upon her toes, and had kissed me sudden and dainty upon the mouth, before that I did what? and I to put mine arm about her and give her a little hug, and immediately then to matters that did be practical, for I was eager to have come across that stony part of the journey that did be before us, as you do know, but before that we looked for a place for our slumber. And this eagerness of haste to be, because of the great bird things which I had seen go bounding over that waste, when that I was upon mine outward way. And surely, after that I had thought a little moment, I bid the maid that she did dress in her torn garments, so that these should be over the top of the armour suit, and this wise to make a soft thickness upon the top of the armour suit, that should act for a cushion between mine armour and her dear body. But indeed the maid would nowise to do this thing, and I not to make her, because that my heart perceived how it did be with her, and her reasons to be some ways mixed, as doth be proper in all humans, and the more so when that it doth be a maid that hath reasons, as you to know, if that you have ever held such dear perverseness in your arms. And she, as I could know, to be strangely in love that her gentle body be bruised by the hardness of mine armour, and if this might not be, she to be not wishful that she wear her torn clothing upon her neat suit, and so to seem careless, to lack, and to... Oh gosh, I'm going to try this from the top. And she, as I could know, to be strangely in love that her gentle body be bruised by the hardness of mine armour, and if this might not be, she to be not wishful that she wear her torn clothing upon her neat suit, and so to seem careless, and to lack to be dainty in mine eyes, for indeed she did be alway to wash herself and to make tidiness, and she to have a way now that she did set the armour suit upon her, that had it to seem different, and she to have set a little sprig from the trees upon her breast, and in her girdle, and so to seem the more of a maid. And surely a man doth know and love these things, but not always to have full knowing how that they'd be done. And indeed you to be likewise with me in this thing, and we all to think we know, but somewise just to be alack, when that it doth come to the proof. And in verity the maid to find a way that she be eased of the hardness of the armour, and I to have come to the same thing in the same moment, but truly I do think that she had been able to think upon it a long while, if that she had been so desired. And truly, this was but that I fold the cloak very thick across mine arms and breast, and to take her then into the little nest that did be prepared. And surely, now that the maid might no more have her secret wish that she lie close against mine armour, she to be helpful, and to have the cloak folded in so, and to have the folk clolded. Anyway, and surely, now that the maid might no more have her secret wish that she lie close against mine armour, she to be helpful, and to have the cloak folded so in a very quick while, and so to be in mine arms again, and we to be once more upon the journey, and she to nestle to me, as that she did hunger to be nigh to me, and she to talk with me odd whiles, and odd whiles to be silent. And once I to think that she wept a little, and to know that she did be like to think upon her father and her own peoples, but she to have her face turned to me, so that I could but guess upon this thing, and she very soon to be hushed again of this sorrow, and to lie content in mine arms. And once, when that I had carried her for 3 hours, she to ask me that I kiss her, and truly I did kiss her very gentle and with reverence, because that mine heart did understand the holiness that did be in her heart in that moment. And surely, as I kissed her, she to kiss me very tender, and I to know that some olden memory did be like to stir in her, and in a moment she to take her lips from mine, where she had let them to nestle very light, and did whisper mine olden love name, which they never tell us, by the way, and did whisper mine olden love name, and I then to look at her, and her eyes to shine as the olden stars that did shine in the olden summers. And I to be too shaken even that I kiss her, but she to put her arms about my neck, and to look steadfast into mine eyes. And immediately, after that she had looked a while, and I to have ceased from walking, she to put her hands upon each side of my face, within the metal of mine headgear, where the guards did come down by the sides, and she to kiss me very sober upon the lips, but yet to mean utter by that kiss. And I not to return the kiss, for I saw that it did not be her need.
There's another now. What can we do here? Now, in the beginning of the 4th hour, as I did go with the maid, I had to see afar off one of the half-bird monsters, as that I did see before upon this place, where there did be naught save great stones and boulders, for a great way that did be many miles. And truly I had to hide very swift with the maid, where 2 great boulders did come together, and surely the bird creature to go past at no great way, and to go with a great bounding, that did be half of flight and half of leaping, as that it did be too weighty in the body to make to fly proper. Sounds an awful lot like dinosaurs, I'm not going to lie. And indeed, I to have a sudden memory how that there did be a picture in some book that I did read in the mighty pyramid, where it did show such a bird thing as this, and to make a remark in the book that these things had been seen no more in the nightland for 1,000 of years or more, and to be extinct, as we do say. But indeed, now I do think that they did become downward to that warm country a great while gone, and so to have a new life and to breed through a great age, and this way to have set a pattern unto the humans. And in verity, it might be that in some age that did be far after that time, the humans to find some way to journey from the pyramid, and to build a new refuge in that deep country, and mayhap the humans this wise to have a new space of life, after that all the nightland did be dead and lost in the bitter frost of eternity. But this indeed to be no more than an odd thought, for how might any great multitude pass the monsters, and I to ask that you take it for nothing of fact, but only as of my suppositions, and this wise to come back again to happenings. Now, when the bird thing did be gone a long way off, I had to go forward again with mine own, and to have a new care, and to look very swift and frequent every way. And truly it did be as that the creature did inhabit a part of the country. For in an hour after that I to see a good score, and I to free the discourse from my hip, and to have it ready in mine arms beside the maid, and so to journey. And many times I to have to hide with mine own, and to crouch low among the rocks and the boulders, and this way to escape free of all for a great while. Yet when the 5th hour did be nigh gone, I heard a noise sudden to my back, as we did go over a clear space. And in verity there did be one of the monsters that came upward over certain rocks that were to my rear. Wow, I cannot do that. Yet when the 5th hour did be nigh gone, I heard a noise sudden to my back, as we did go over a clear space. And in verity there did be one of the monsters that came upward over certain rocks that were to my rearward, and surely it to have been stayed hid there, or resting, and to have heard us, or to have smelled us. But anywise then to have knowledge of us, and to come with low and brutish heavy boundings very lumbersome after us. And I looked every way in a moment, but there was nowhere any shelter anigh. And the maid to leap sudden from mine arms that I be free with the discourse, and I to look swift to her, and to see that she have her knife ready in her hand, that she might chance to aid me. But surely I might not fight in ease of mind, if that mine own did be needless in danger, and I caught her very quick by the waist, and set her upon the ground between my feet. And she to make half to refuse, but I to have no time for explaining, and to be sharp that I have her safe, so that I gave her a little shake that did be sudden to make her feel the strength in me, and she then to be instant quiet in my hands, and to let me that I set her upon her face, and to cast the thick cloak above her, and in a moment to be stood over her, and to set down the visor of mine headgear, lest that the bird monster strike me in the face. And surely the bird thing did be scarce 100 good paces off, and to make 2 lumbering and monstrous bounds, and to come at me. Yet truly it made sudden a pause, because that the discourse did roar and send out fire, as I made it to spin. But in an instant the great thing to come in at me upon the left side, and to strike me very hard with the bill, that did be so long as mine arm, and had surely gone through my body, if that I had been naked. and the bill of the monster rang upon my in armour, and it smote me twice this wise, so that I staggered very sick and shaken. But in a moment, as it made to draw off, that it should come the more hard upon me, I swung the discus very sure and quick, and I smote the bird thing above the place where the great seeming leathern wing did join upon the right side, as it should be the shoulder of the bird monster. And in verity, I keep forgetting the first comma there, and in verity, the monster gave out a mighty squarking, a mighty squark, squark. And in verity, the monster gave out a mighty squawking, and went backward this way and that, and beat all about upon the stones, and did strike with the great bill at the place where it did be hurt. And I heeded that I ended swiftly, and I ran in upon it, and the creature to strike at me with a great bill, very savage. But I jumped speedy to this side, and again to that, and so in a moment to have chance to come in surely. And truly I split the skull of the bird thing, so that it died very quick, and was gone from pain. And the bird creature lay all spread upon the stones, and the rock of that place, and surely it did be as that it were leathern, and made somewise as a bat doth be of this age, in that it did have no feathers. And truly it looked mighty where it did be spread, and indeed the body to be so big as the body of a young horse, and the bill to be very deadly and sharp and cumbrous, as you to have guessed. And I to be all and utter thankful that it did be there, dead in the stead of mine own body. And the thing yet to twitch and stir a little, as the life did go from it. And surely I was back then very speedy to the maid, and she to be kneeled upward to watch me. And I took her into mine arms, and looked well about, and made then forward again. And about the middle part of the 6th hour of crossing that rocky land, I saw that we did draw near unto the shallow river, that you shall mind I came over, after that I had done with the olden flying ship. And in all that time, since the bird monster to come after us, I had seen but 2 more, and they a great way off, so that I guessed that I was come beyond that part where they did go very frequent. And I to wade over the river, and to carry mine own upon one arm, the while that I did sound my way with the staff of the discos. And truly I came across very easy, save that I did have to go around somewhat, where that the river did seem to have a deep place. And when that we had crossed the river, it did be full 21 hours since that we had slumbered, as you shall know, if that you but count a little. For you do mind that we spent a certain time within the tree, as I have told, and this not to have been proper counted into the time of our journeying. And surely the maid to have been very quiet, since that I did show my strength a little to her, when that I made her to lie, that she be safe from the bill of the bird monster. But she not to be anywise in anger upon me, but only, as I do think, that the woman in her did be something fresh waked unto me, and she to be very content that she be quiet in mine arms. Another change. All to keep from going mad. Now, in the place that we were coming to, there is no inn. Now the place that we were coming to was much spread with boulders, but yet to have beginnings again of the forests, as you to remember, for I to have made some small remark of the land in this part upon mine outward way. And we looked about for a fire hole, that I should dry my lower garments. And truly we had not passed many in a great while, but we to be in fortune that we came soon upon a little fire hill that did be no more than so high as a man, and to have the rock all hot about, so that this did be a good place to our purpose. And I kissed the maid, and set her down out of mine arms, and when that I had looked well about, and seen that there did be naught to our sight to give us to fear, the maid to help me with mine armour, and afterward with mine garments, and to ease me all ways that she could think of with helpfulness. And she set the garments of my lower parts to dry, and whilst that they did be drying, she to make ready the water and the tablets, and to have me sit beside her, in my body vest and gear, and we to eat and drink very comfortable in the warm hollow that was something anigh to the small fire hill. Now, truly, I did be very hungry that time, and indeed to be always so, for the tablets did be very unfilling to the belly, as you do well know from my tellings. And when that I did be finished, I saw that the maid looked at me somewise odd ways, and sudden she to come into laughter, and asked me whether that I did be very empty, and in the same moment there to be a wondrous dear look within her eyes, so that I perceived that there went a mother note under her impudence. And she to yearn, as I could know, that she have some way to feed me, but truly there did be no way, for we thought not to make to slay aught for our purpose, and we did be feared that we eat any root or plant, lest that we be ill. And this to seem strange to my spirit of this our age, but to be natural unto that, so that I do think that I did be so long bred from the primal obtaining of food, that I did be all lost to that which should seem natural unto the peoples of this early age of the world, though we truly to think that the world doth even now be old, and this to have seeming a true thing unto every age that ever did live. Now, beside that we did lack somewise to think serious that we slay something to eat, in that the tablets did actually suffice to our strength, I to believe that there did be some other reason that I do forget, and mayhap never to have thought plain upon, but which to be set within me as an instinct, as we do say, and this to mean, if that I try to set in other words, that the tablets did keep the body and the spirit in such condition that the forces of evil did have the less power to act upon us. So I guess it's consecrated. Consecrated food, so to speak. They're not like Christian demons. Judeo-Christian demons. They're decidedly eldritch. And brutish. Like there's different forces of evil. Usually when he says evil powers or forces of evil, he's referring to things that can, like, eat your soul and do other horrible things. Yet have I no remembering that I was taught in the preparation that I eat not save the tablets, and this mayhap never to have been set upon me, but to have been as a thing that doth never need to have been told, even as you shall not tell a grown man in this age that he shall refrain from dung, and eat only wholesome matter. And truly, I to hope that I have made this thing somewise clear unto you, for indeed it doth be something hard to set out, for every age hath the subtleties peculiar to that age, and these to be hard to the understanding of other ages, but yet to seem plain and utter natural, even without thought, unto the peoples of the age, unto the peoples of that age. There we go. And surely all this to be plain to you, and to be over-plain, for, in verity, I tell to you, and over-tell, until that I should be weary, and mayhap you to be the more so. And indeed, I not to blame you, but only to hope that your understanding, which doth mean also in general your hearts, doth be with me all along my way. And, indeed, this my tale to be not easy told. Tell me about it, dude. And in verity, I to be back now unto the maid a laugh upon me, and in the same moment deeply loving, and alack that she could not feed me, and I to laugh with her, and to have understanding with her, as you to know, and, indeed, I to have an heart that doth be made some ways natural unto understanding, so that even though I be dead when you read this, my tale, you to feel that we be friends, and to know that could I meet you in pitiful trouble, I to have understanding and love to you, if that you be not utter brutish. And even so, I to be sorrowful that you should be brutish, and to have understanding, in that I to know that by development you to become wise unto sweetness and charity. Ah, frickadoodle. He's doing it again.
Mom, he's doing it again!
Oh, lordy. I'm going to rewind a little here. Where it... Oh, yeah, no, this thing is a monster. Where's the first period on this puppy? That's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11... Call it 11 and a half, 12 lines. Jesus. One run-on sentence. Well, it's not quite a run-on sentence. It's got puncture. You know what? Let me get through this paragraph, and then I'll do Frag exclaims the punctuation. And in verity I to be back now unto the maid a laugh upon me, and in the same moment deeply loving, and alack that she could not feed me, and I to laugh with her, and to have understanding with her, as you to know. And indeed I to have an heart that doth be made some ways natural unto understanding, so that even though I be dead when you read this, my tale, you to feel that we be friends, and to know that I could meet with you in pitiful trouble. I to have... I mangled it again. I think. There's a page break in the middle of it, which isn't helping. And indeed, I to have an heart that doth be made some ways natural unto understanding, so that even though I be dead when you read this, my tale, you to feel that we be friends, and to know that could I meet you, that could I meet with you in pitiful trouble, I to have understanding and love to you, if that you be not utter brutish, and even so, I to be sorrowful that you should be brutish, and to have understanding, in that I to know that by development you to become wise unto sweetness and charity, and in love with all dear things, and kind pity of the rest. And this wise you to be in human sympathy with me, because that you do feel that I be honest with you, and somewise even now to your elbow, as you read. And this to be writ now, as you mayhap not to be born a great while yet, but in the end to read and to have understanding with me, and to know how I did love mine own. And so we to go forward again the closer, in that we do be more knit in dear human sympathy. All right. So I'm going to reread that and tell you every bit of punctuation that's there. And, in verity, I to be back now unto the maid a laugh upon me. And in the same moment, deeply loving, and a lack that she could not feed me, and I to laugh with her, and to have understanding with her, as you to know, and, indeed, I to have an heart that doth be made some ways natural unto understanding, so that even though I be dead when you read this, my tale, you to feel that we be, friends, and to know... You to know that we be friends, and to know that could I meet you... Okay. It's because of the page transition. And to know that could I meet with you in pitiful trouble, I to have understanding and love to you, if that you be not utter brutish, and even so, I to be sorrowful that you should be brutish, and to have understanding, in that I to know that by development you to become wise unto sweetness and charity, and in love with all dear things, and kind pity of the rest, period. And this wise you to be in human sympathy with me, because that you do feel that I be honest with you, and somewise even now to your elbow, as you read, period. And this to be writ now, and you mayhap not to be born a great while yet, but in the end to read and to have understanding with me, and to know how I did love mine own, period. And so we to go forward again, the closer, in that we do be more knit in dear human sympathy, period. Basically, he's saying, I'm an empathetic guy, and even if you were a brutish monster, so long as you had an open mind as a brutish monster, it'd be okay if you could be taught. And I wouldn't kill you with a discos. Anyway, so I'm going to reread that paragraph without the punctuation, and we'll move on with our day, because Lord knows I've spent enough time on this. And, in verity, I to be back now unto the maid a laugh upon me, and in the same moment deeply loving, and alack that she could not feed me, and I to laugh with her, and to have understanding with her, as you to know. And, indeed, I to have an heart that doth be made some ways natural unto understanding, so that even though I be dead when you read this, my tale, you to feel that we be friends, and to know that could I meet with you in pitiful trouble, I to have understanding and love to you, if that you be not utter brutish, and even so, I to be sorrowful that you should be brutish, and to have understanding, in that I to know that by development, that's with an E after development, in that I to know that by development you to become wise unto sweetness and charity, and in love with all dear things, and kind pity of the rest. And this wise you to be in human sympathy with me, because that you do feel that I be honest with you, and somewise even now to your elbow, as you read. And this to be writ now, and you mayhap not to be born a great while yet, but in the end to read and to have understanding with me, and to know how I did love mine own. And so we to go forward again, the closer, in that we do be more knit in dear human sympathy. And surely the maid kissed me very nice on the lips, and did promise again how that she should make me a great meal when that we did come to our mighty home, and indeed, as she to say, she to join with me, and we both to be naughty gluttons for that once. And surely I laughed gently at the maid, because that she should be so dainty a glutton, but for my part I to feel that I could eat an horse, as we do say in this age. And by that we had eaten, drunk, and talked a while, and looked oft about, so that we know that no brutish thing came near to our hurt, the maid to tell me that my garments did be dry, and she then to give me aid that I dress very quick, and afterward she to help me with mine armour, the which she did wipe, after that we had eat and drunk, and she to have had joy that she do this thing, and all things for me, and to have used a part of her torn garments to this end. And so, truly, I to be clothed and armed very speedy, and to feel eased and the more sure in my mind, for in verity I was always in unease, when that I did not be ready that I be able to meet any horrid brute that should be like to come upon us. Now, when that I did be into mine armour again, the maid to set the scrip and the pouch upon me, and all the while I scarce to be loosed of the discourse as ever. And we then to our way, which did be that we find a place proper to our slumber. And when that we did be gone always, and no cave proper to our sight, we found a great tree that did be set off alone, and had a plenty of branches, but none that did be near to the bottom part. And surely I gave the maid a lift, and held her up so far as mine arms did go, so that she might stand upon the palms of my hands, and be steady against the trunk of the tree, and she this wise to have a hold upon a branch, and so to go upward. And truly, when that she was safe, I loosed one of the straps from the pouch and the scrip, and I cast this up to the maid, and she set it strong about the branch. And when I had caught the downward end, I went upward very easy, and afterward took loose the strap, and this way we did be something safe, as you shall see. Oh, so the pack was heavy enough to weigh down a branch so he could grab it and climb up. Okay. Is I believe what he's saying there. And we climbed upward then, and so came to a part of the tree where the branches did be very thick together, and we made here a place for our slumber, and the maid set the cloak over the branches that did be so close, and afterward we lay down. But first I set the strap about her waist, and thence to a branch, that she refused sleep until that I be likewise, so that we did both be very safe from any fall. And she kissed me, and we then to our slumber, and very weary, for it did be 22 hours by this, since that we had sleep. Now we had 8... Oh, there's a now. We can change it up. Oh, good. I won't change it every now, but... because sometimes they're pretty close together. Like this and the next one. Now we had 8 hours in which we slept utter, and we both to awake, as it did seem in the same moment. But truly, I to think that mine own did be wakeful before that time, for indeed, as she put her arms very dainty about my neck, that she kissed me, I did have a quick and sudden knowledge that I had been kissed oft in my sleep, and OFT as in often, that I had been kissed oft in my sleep, and this to have been but a little while gone. And surely it did seem to me that mine own did have a sweet and contented mischief inward of her eyes, but yet she to be very sedate outward, and to kiss me loving and dear, and then we to our breakfast upon the cloak. And afterward I climbed to the topmost branches of the tree, and looked well over the country all about, but there was no brutish thing to my sight in any place, neither near nor far. And I came down then to the maid, and told her how there was quietness of life all about. And we had our gear together, and went downward to the earth, and I to help mine own, and this way she to be safe. Did you get to check out Victor Borge punctuation bit? I don't think I did. I'm not sure I know what that is off the top of my head. My brain is not all there. I'm in book reading mode. Sometimes I forget stuff. Yes, and this way she to be safe. Now, as we went forward upon our journeying, I perceived that the maid had a wayward air, and truly I thought that she did have her heart all set toward naughtiness and mischief, and in the same moment that I was in this belief, I did know in mine understanding that this did spring from the workings of my nature upon the nature of mine own maiden. And Naani to walk in the first beside me, and to have no word for me, because that she did be so filled with the stirrings of her naughtiness, that did be in the same moment very sweet unto me, and yet to waken all that did be masterful within me. And she to be that she did know, and to delight in her secret heart that she wakened that which did be masterful in me, but yet in the same moment to be strong determined that she be not mastered by me. And surely this to seem contrariwise in the words, but to be clear to the heart, if indeed you have ever been loved by a dear maid of an high spirit. And above all this, the maid did be filled with a love for me, that did beat and dance in all her being, and this in truth to overweigh all, but yet from this same thing her dainty naughtiness to be born, because, as I did say, my manhood to stir all her nature upwise in sweet trouble that did be half of rebellion, and half that she did ache that she be close unto me in mine arms. And in verity you to be with me in all these things, if that you have had the love days beside a dear and dainty maid, of an high and pure and natural spirit, so that if you be old these days, even but the light merriment of a passing maiden to bring a pain of wanderings and golden memories upon your heart. And presently I saw that mine own put a little space between us, as the naughtiness did work in her, as my heart to know, and she to be offward from me a little, and she still to have no speech with me, but in a little to begin that she sing in a low voice, and to have her pretty body very upright and lithesome, and to go forward with a wondrous dainty swing, so that my heart told me that she did be all stirred with small thrillings of defiance unto me, and with thrillings of love, and she to have the triumph of her maidenhood and of her womanhood, as it were both to contend in her, and to contend in her, and to thrill upon her tongue, and to show out the lilting and pretty warfare of her spirit, that did go dancing and dearly naughty in her breast. And surely I went, very lifted in my heart, and astir, for it did be wondrous to me that this lovely maid did be so utter mine, and to see but the way that she set her feet to the earth, and the way that she did lift them sure and dainty, and the way that her body did be poised, and the way of her head, and the way of her naughtiness, and the sweetness and the love that did be wrapped in with all, did make me want that I have her in mine arms. But yet I not to do this, because that in the same time that she did so stir me to love and admirings, she to set somewhat else in me at variance, so that I did half to feel stern with her, for I perceived that she had that naughtiness then within her, and that she did be like to have a real intent of impertinence unto me, so that she should be naughtily outrageous, and to have no heed to my advisings, neither unto my desires, unless that I set my hand upon her, to make her to obey. And truly, you that have had dear maids shall follow mine explainings, but unto others I know not whether they shall understand, until they too have been possessed of one that shall set all their heart adrift, even as this one that did be mine own. And sudden I to know that Naani did change from her low singing unto an olden air that had surely not been heard in all that eternity. And in verity, for a little while, I not to know why that she did so shake all my heart, nor what it did be, nor whether that I had truly heard it before, or only to think so. And surely it did be as that the silence of the olden moonlit world did steal all about me, and sudden I to know that the maid did sing an olden love song of the olden world, and to go halting a little as she sang, because that the words did steal something oddwise through the far veils of her memory, even as a song doth come backward out of dreams. And I to feel all my blood to seem to tremble in my veins, and my throat to be troubled, as with vague sobs that did be the ghosts of forgotten tears. And the dim sorrow that had come so swift and strange upon me, to be likewise steeped in golden mists of the love that I once did love, and the glamour to become all fresh upon me, and I to know in that moment how much we do forget, even when that we do believe that we have all memory and sorrow within our hearts. And I looked unto the maid, something dimly, because of the way that I did be, and I perceived in a moment that mine own did weep as she walked, but the less with pain than with the strange anguish of memory, that doth have in it tenderness and sorrow and love, and all that hath been and all that did never be, and all to make a veil unto the spirit, where doth be both a dim greyness and a warm and everlasting light, and an utter speechlessness, and the low and far music of forgotten songs, that do come downward over the shadowy mountains that do be builded of years and forgetfulness, and yet made to be seen with the light of that our memory, which doth cast so many hushed shadows. And surely, as I did say, the maid did weep as she went, but not to be cast down, but rather that she held her head upwise, as that she did walk in a glory. And the song to come oft broke, and oddly, and to set her voice to little human quiverings, as her memory did shake her sweet spirit unto tears afresh, and she to walk with her pretty head upheld, and as that she did go in a triumph, and the tears to come down strangely upon her face, and all her soul to be there, pure and wondrous, and in the same time both troubled and glad. And this thing to be very dear and amazing, and she to be as that she not to know then that she sang, but as that she did be lost in her thoughts, as we do say, and this to have come sudden upon her, out of all her upliftedness of spirit, that had been like to make her a very open unto all subtile and subtle powers of thought and inward stirrings, as you shall think. Welcome back, Frank Misers. Thanks for tuning in. And again the song to come full remembered and fresh, as that this eternity did be but the yesterday of that moment, and mine own to be all in a sweet madness with those half-dreamed memories, and the wonder and pain of all that no man hath ever said, and that shall be never said, and of all the utter lost years, and all that hath been lost, and all forgotten greatness and splendour, and the dreadfulness of parting, and the loveliness of beautiful things that do be hid in the abyss of the years. And it did be sudden to my quickened fancy that there did be low echoes all about us, of the voices of dear beautiful ones that have died, for so did memory set a strange and lovely mystery about my spirit in that moment, that I did be all shaken so much as mine own. And I to be as that I drew my breath anigh to tears, and did be there with Naani amid the quiet spareness of the trees and the rock of that part of the land, but yet did be to see half dimly that I stood within a light, even as the light that doth be the wonder of olden sunsets, and I to be, in the same time, both that man and this man that now doth write, and to have beside my spirit but one maid, that I did lack to know whether I say to her Naani or Mirdath, for though the two that have been mine own did be different seeming to the eye, there to be but the spirit of one maid beside me in that moment. And surely I did be there, all shaken unto the seeing of visions, as it did seem, so that the land about me to have grown half as that it did lack that it be real unto my sight, because that I looked inward unto the lands that did be of memory. And lo, in a moment this to go, and I to be in that country of the seas, and to look newly unto Naani, and she to go as I have told, and there to be the lonesome trees and the rocks in all parts for a great way about. And sudden, as I looked at mine own, she to come round unto me, and she held out her arms, and did gaze at me with such a love as that she were transfigured, and to need strangely that she be in mine arms. And surely I to an holy need that I have her unto me, because that, after all, there did be no wonder so great as that wonder, that when all did be said, I did have mine own, after that all eternity had nigh passed. And in verity we ran each to the other, and did be silent, because that there was no speech of words by which we could say aught of all that did be in our hearts. Heathcliff, running across the moors. And truly you to be with me in understanding, for you too mayhap to have suffered this wise of dumbness, even if that it hath been not so great. Even if that it hath not been so great, but yet to make you to know. And presently we grew quiet in the... Oh, God, things dropping on me from above. What the hell was that? Is that like a screw from the ceiling? What the fuck? It went clink. I'm in an old mill converted into apartments, so it might have just been some bit of whoozy what's it. It had some heft to it, though. Well, I don't see it around me. I don't know what it was. Anyway, give me a sec. Sorry about that. Here we are. And presently we grew quiet in the spirit, and mine own to come back again to her joyousness, and to go beside by me as we made forward. And presently Naani to begin that she look at me with dear impudences again, that did be very sweet unto me, but yet to be like to lead unto defyings. And truly by these things shall you know the spirit of mine own maid, and there to be none to me that ever did be like her. But indeed you to think that wise of the maid that you did love, and all the world to be thinking each these thoughts of one dear maiden that doth be the one maid in all the round world. And this to be the lovely niceness of the human heart, and I not to have any grumble thereat. But yet, surely, you shall say that this maid that did be mine own did be very dear and lovely. And, in verity, I to show my human heart in this thing, for you likewise to want that I think your maid to have been just so dear, and the more so. And indeed we ever to be going these ways, and to have good comradeship of understanding, because that we have all loved and suffered joy, and had utter belief in a dear one. And surely a defyingness to come presently into the way that the maid did go, and she to walk a little offward from me, and truly I looked at her, both with love and yet with something that did be to reprove her gently, and all in the same moment that she to make my heart stirred with her sweet naughtiness. And she to look sudden at me, and to be that she have to intend to run to kiss me, but also that she be minded in the same moment that she set herself up impertinently against me. And in verity she made me to harden my nature a little, as manhood doth make a man to do, and this because of the rebellion that I knew to be in her, and she likewise to know. But she hid her eyes, when that I shook my head, half with play and half with earnest. and was then impudent unto me, and gone from that in a moment to her pretty singing, and her naughty walking apart. But she no more to sing an olden love song. Now, in a while, we passed a basin of rock, in a place among the trees, and there was a warm spring bubbling in the rock, and the basin to be full of water, very warm, with some smelling of chemistry. Very warm and with some smelling of chemistry. Scientists have been here. Chemists. Now, in a while, we passed a basin of rock. No, that's another now. Okay, I can change it up. Now, in a while, we passed a basin of rock, in a place among the trees, and there was a warm spring bubbling in the rock, and the basin to be full of water, very warm and with some smelling of chemistry. And the maid told me that she would wash, and I to think it a good place for that end. And when I had tasted the water, I found that it did seem smooth and proper for our intent, as that there did be oh, God, Lord, what is he writing? And when I had tasted the water, I found that it did seem smooth and proper for our intent, as that there did be a verity of an alkali in it. He's so basic. Get it? He's alkali, base versus an acid. Chemistry! And truly we washed, and after that I was done, the maid bid me that I turn my back, and I to do this, and she to mock me very naughty, whilst that I could not see her, and to seem very quiet. For indeed I heard no splashings of water, though I stood off from her a long while, and she alway to say naughty things unto me, as that she did mind truly to have me angered, for indeed she did have a plain intent that she mock at me, and to ease not her wit. And surely after that I had stood a great while, I asked the maid when that she did be like to be done, but she to say that she was nowise ended of her toilets. Toilettes, even. No, it's a single T, it's toilets. And I knew very sudden that she made foolishness upon me also in this matter, and I turned upon her, and lo, she did be sitting upon a little rock, very sedate, even as when she had bid me turn from her, and to have made no more forward, but only to have been there at ease, that she keep me turned away to please her naughty mood, and all the while have a double liberty to have impudence upon me. And in verity I did be a little angered, but scarce that I did know it, for I did love her very great, and was stirred inwardly with her dearness, and that she did look just that wise that I knew not whether I need to kiss her or to shake her, and truly, how should I know? For my heart did ache that I have her to mine arms, but my brain to say that she did go over far in the joke. And truly, you to see that I did not be unreasonable, neither to be lacking of grace. For indeed I do think that I was swayed always, because that I saw all the dear way that her pretty nature did work, and to conceive of her mood, and to understand and be stirred, but yet to shape a little of in my manhood unto hardening, and in my judgment unto sternness. Yet truly I scolded mine own with no more than a little jesting, and did be nice and gentle with her, because she did be so dear, and I to know justwise her mood and the cause and working of it. And I told her that I did love her, and that she hasten now and let us again to the journey. But indeed, I always forget the first commas, which separates the but from the indeed, but indeed, she only to make a face at me, so that I did be near to like to shake her unto sedateness. And she then to be both merry and a rogue, as we do say, and to stop her ears, and again to sing very gleeful, and all so that she might not hear aught that I said. And surely she looked a very dainty, rebellious one. Rebellious one is a proper title in this case. It's got a capital R and a capital O. And I went then straight away to her, and took her hands from her ears, and I kissed her pretty ears very gentle, that I not to deafen her. And I kissed her lips as she did sing, and afterwards shook her, that she be not such a sweet torment. But this to have no success that way, for she only to put her toes out to be kissed.
there it is again. It was coming, you knew. Quentin Tarantino, were you involved in this?
For she only to put out her toes to be kissed, for her footgear was off from her feet. And indeed I laughed, even as I made to frown, and truly I kissed her pretty toes, and tried then to coax her to go forward something speedy with her hair, and to be ready to the journey. But she only to sing, and to refuse to be sedate. And, in verity, in the end, I caught her up in mine arms, and had her bundle in my hand, and so went off with her very sudden, with her hair all loose upon me in a lovely and soft shining, and her feet bare as they did be. And this action I made, because that I was grown truly a little stern with mine own, for, indeed, she did have to need that she be whipped unto properness, as you shall think, that have seen how she did be this wise only because that her nature did be stirred strangely, and her womanhood and her maidenhood to be all unto war, and in part to make a rebellion against me that she did no glad to be her true master, but yet she to be thus, even though she did be so glad. But yet she to be thus, even though she did be so glad. Well, upon rereading all this, I am noticing some interesting goofery in the printing of this. Like a couple paragraphs back, like it was missing spaces between things. But here, it has the word foolishness, and it's got an end squiggly bracket, I forget what those are called, in the place of an L, which is strange. These things happen. I assume it's due to the scanning process or something. Anyway, and this to act so that she did be in the same moment both sweet and wise, and yet to show a dainty foolishness and a true naughtiness, that did make me to feel somewhat of a real anger, but yet did have me to know that all my being did be stirred by her, so that I did think with one thought that she did be very foolish, and with another that she did be lovely wayward. We have a now. I may just not have a Dutch cover. There may well have been a Dutch edition, but I don't know. Yeah, it's a lot. There's Japanese covers. There's I know there's a Russian cover in there. There should be some French covers, plural. They've got some great art. But yeah, it's been around, which is great. It has done the rounds, I should say. All right, where were we? It's a now. What are we doing? What are we doing with this now? We're changing it up. What are we changing it up to? We did the British earlier. We did an Australian briefly. Now, when that I took the maid up so quick, and made off with her, she to give a little gasp. Oh, yeah, I don't know, like, there's... I mean, it's... Yeah, I don't know how you convert it to flowery prose like this in other languages. I don't even know how you begin. I guess you'd be like, well... Okay, we'll take whatever the oldest readable version of this language is, and go from there. Something that sounds archaic. But even then, that's a very good point. I never even thought of how hard it would be to translate this. A German accent? Now, when that I took the maid up so quick, and made off with her, she to give a little gasp, and to submit me with a quick humbleness, but immediately she to regain her courage, and to be outraged of me. But indeed I took no heed, only that I was like to shake her, and did know that her hair did be wondrous pretty upon mine armour, and she soon to lie very quiet and easy in mine arms, and to be demure. And I to have a half knowledge of somewhat amiss, but yet to have no sureness, neither to think much upon this vague feeling. And when that I had gone a good mile, she to put up her lips to be kissed, and I to kiss her very loving, for she was so dear. And then she to say, very ordinary like, that I should do why... very ordinary-like, that I should do wisely now if that I went back for her footgear, which truly I had lacked thought to notice, when that I did pick up the maid. And I saw that she had known this thing all that while, and had made that mile of carrying all a waste and a foolishness, because of the naughty rebellion which did be in her. And lo, I set her instant to the ground, and she gave out a little cry as she saw that I did be gone somewise hard and stern with her. And indeed I pulled a small branch from a tree that did be near, to be for a switch as you shall whip a boy with. And I held her with my left hand, and in verity I laid the switch thrice, very sharp, across her pretty shoulders, that she know all that she did need to know. And she seeming to be ceased in a moment from her perverseness, and did nestle very quick unto me, that had whipped her. And did mean that she be wondrous nigh unto me. And truly, how shall even a young man flog such an one? Such an ein? Oh, good. There's a now coming up quickly. I can't keep doing this very long. It comes across as painfully hammy, which is unfortunate because I have considerable family members that speak in German. Want the maid to be very hushed against mine armour, and to resist that I look into a face that did be pressed so anigh to me. But presently I used a little and gentle force, and so to look into her face something sudden, and truly that one did be smiling very naughty and dainty to herself, so that I perceived that I had not truly whipped her enough, but yet I could harden my heart no more at that time, for in verity there doth be a strange half pain in the bosom, if that you have to flog a maid that doth be utter thine, and this to the despite that there hath been, as then, no properness of anger to have for an after self-reproach. And surely I to have done this thing only of a stern intent and steadfastness, that I steady mine own maid unto wisdom, but yet to have been helped by a little anger because of the thing that she had bedone. Yet alway my love did be so strong, that mine anger never to have aught of bitterness, as you shall have seen, and to understand. And we went back then for the footgear of the maid, and she to be very hushed in mine arms, but yet, as I perceived, not to be quiet, of an humble little heart, but only of the chance that her nature did be stirred that way for the while. I don't know how much harder I can make this for you, he says.
Ah, he is an antagonist. I see.
So the quest for shoes continues. And truly, when we were gone back, the footgear did be there to the side of the pool, and the maid got shod very speedy, and would have no aid, and afterward did up her hair very tight upon her head, to have it utter from my sight, and this to be for a perverseness, for she knew that I did love to see it pretty upon her shoulders, or if that she must do it, that she do it up very loose and nice, and truly you to know how I mean, only that I have no skill of such matters, but yet a good taste to admirings, if that the thing be all right. Be all right, not all right. If that the thing be all right. And I to say nothing, as I looked at her, and she presently to make a quick glance unto me, to see why I did say naught. And I shook my head, smiling at her waywardness, but she to look away from me, and to seem to be set to fresh naughtiness. We have another now. Give me a sec to get a quick swig in me.
What do you want? What do you want? Yeah, we could do it gangland style. Why not? Listen here, you. Now, we went forward then upon our journey, and alway the maid to walk onward from me, but yet to have no other impudence, neither to sing. And I to go kindly with her, but yet to think that she did lack somewhat to know that I did be truly her master, and I to wonder a little whether she did know proper that my gentleness with her did be not of weakness, but born of understanding and love, and the more proof that I did be fit to possess and to guide her. And truly this was the thought of a young man, yet lacking not of reason in the bottom part. Is he talking about his...
Is he talking about his junk?
yet lacking not of reason in the bottom part, though mayhap to be something clumsy seeming unto the maid of mind. Oh boy. Oy. And truly this was the thought of a young man, yet lacking not of reason in the bottom part, though mayhap to be something clumsy seeming unto the mind of a maid, and to be very human to my years, and you to have been likewise, if that you have tried always with a dear one, and she to be yet over wilful, so that you to wonder whether she did truly know how you did understand. And surely a maid doth know much that doth be in the heart of a man, if that she be a true woman in her own secret heart. And oft she doth know more of her man than her man doth wot of himself. And to go her own diverse ways, that she search out and bring forth and waken all that is the inward being of the man that she doth love. Yet, when that she have stirred you in the deeps that you scarce to know, she to be all fearful, and in the same moment to have no fear, and to be in rebellion, and in the same moment to be most strange humble, and all to be born of love, and nature in action upon nature. And more than this, how shall I have learning of the heart to tell you? For, in verity, there doth be much in these few lines, if that you know to read, and surely you to know, or to learn. But if neither, then have you gone short of joy and the true inwardness of life. Now, this way I did be.
Oh, that's another now.
Whatever, it's a short one. We'll keep going. Now, this way I did be, as I have told, and the maid to be quietly naughty in perverseness, and also I have set out, yet to have a strict mind to her duties, and to go now wondrous sedate upon the journey, yet alway apart. And likewise, when that the 6th hour did come, and we to our halt, as ever, she to be very speedy and nice that the water and the tablets be ready for me, but yet to have no word, neither to eat by me, but again a little apart, and not to share the water, but to make a brewing to herself, when that I had done. And likewise the maid held not up her tablets to be kissed, as alway, but eat them quiet and meditative, and with little nibblings, as that she did ponder upon other matters, or mayhap to be not hungry. And these things I saw, as we eat and drank in a silence, and I to look at the maid, somewise sad in the heart, and something stirred, and I to say to myself wisely, as a young man, that she did not yet be taught sufficient, that I was her master. And this you to perceive. Get the bat! And she never to seem to look at me, but to be quiet and demure, and to have her eyelids something down upon her eyes.
Are you sure? I can do that. Alrighty. Now, presently, as I thought upon the matter, I saw that I do well that I take no heed of mine own, but to let her come to a natural end of this naughtiness, that did be, in the same time, both pretty and a little foolish, so that in half I condemned it, and in half I was stirred. And alway I loved the maid very dear, and had a good understanding. And there to be also an interest in my heart at this new side that she did be showing, and also she to stir me odd whiles unto masterfulness, and so you to know pretty well how it did be with me in the matter. Now surely I found this plan. Now surely I found this plan that I attend not to the maid to have something of success, for I knew presently that she did look upward at me slyly from under her pretty eyelashes, and after to be demure in a moment, and this to go forward for a while, yet I to show no heed. And in a while I saw that she gave attention to her garments in the way of nattiness, and afterward she took down her hair and made it up then very loose and pretty upon her head, so that she did be very lovely, and to tempt mine eyes that they look alway at her. But, indeed, I did make as that I had no heed that the maid did shape her hair different upon her head. And she very soon then to speak, and to have the lesser gear together, and to make that she attract me. But truly I was very nice with her, yet to keep her now a little off from me in the spirit, and so to teach her that wise, that she was somewhat of a dear naughty maid. But also, as I do think I was this way, because that in part I would tease her, in great love of her prettiness and her makings up to me, and so maybe even that I make her to be the more defying of me. And this to be as that I also lacked somewhat of reason, for I did strangely that I think that she need to be whipped, and in the same time that I go to make her the more deserving of the same. Yet this to be the truth as I know it, and surely to be the natural waywardness of love. But yet there did also be in the backward part of my wisdom an intent that I be wise and careful with mine own, and I surely to have no full realizings that I did be like to set her further unto perverseness than yet she did be. Now, after all that I had shown well that I lacked to heed the maid, I found that I did be looking oft at her, and she to be so dear and pretty, and to be all hushed, that truly I could not bear that I be longer silent to her advancements. And I ceased then from pretending, and would have had her into mine arms, but she to be now in sweet dignity, and to keep me off with very sober graces. And because of this, I to feel some way that I did be some way in blame. And surely, now that I consider it, I can see that I was something acted upon, even as had been the maid. And so we two be, and a most human pair, as you to say, and somewhat both alack. But indeed we did be very wholesome, and in utter love each of the other, and mayhap both then to perceive something of the sweet foolishness within us that did be as yeast a work in us. For I thought that Naani did smile a little to herself. But surely this is clear seeing, to be but for an odd time, and afterward we each again to earnestness in our way with the other. But always, even when we did make to show indifference, we to be something troubled inwardly with sweet flashings of our bewildered natures. Let's see. What time is it? Oh boy, we have quite a bit more to plow through here. Oh boy. Now though I have shown you... The transition is actually pretty hard. Now, though I have shown you that to... It's also a brutally worded sentence. Now, though I have shown you that I to know that I did be not utter free of this most strange and natural foolishness, semicolon. Now, though I have shown you that I to know that I did not be utter free of this most strange and natural foolishness, yet you to perceive that I tell this only that I have utter truth of all things that did happen. For, in verity, because that I was something subtly touched this way at whiles, yet was this no full excusing of the maid, though, in the same moment, you to perceive that there did be only the half of me to think that she did need to be excused. For, in truth, mine understanding went alway, in the main, with the workings of her nature, and had a natural sympathy with her dear whimsies. But also, as you to know, I to be stirred constant in my manhood by her naughty defyings, and to be troubled in my natural sense, when that her whimsies made her to act that she be likely to come unto aught of harm. For the record, when he's talking about manhood, he's not using the term euphemistically, although maybe he is as well. I'm pretty sure he's just talking about what he perceives as the man's, quote, natural role in things, unquote. The way a man's supposed to act, which is a product of the archaic time in which this comes from. I say archaic, turn of the century. The other century, the 1900s, 1912. But also the time period in which he's pretending to be from, narrator voice-wise, which is another 100 or 200 years before even that. Where were we? Right. When that her whimsies made her to act that she be likely to come unto aught of harm. And surely now you to see all the way of my heart, and to have understanding in things that do follow. And alway you shall mind that I did love her utter, and to crave alway that I to be a shield unto her, though truly there doth be, mayhap, somewhat in me that doth act to make me a little stern seeming in my love, but yet not oft so, as you do know, that have gone with me in all my tellings. Now, we went then upon our journey, and the maid to be somewhat before me, offward to the side, upon my right, and to have no speech with me, but to make a good pace, and to be very dear and graceful as she went. And now we did pass this thing of strangeness, and now that. And these I did point out to her, and made some telling concerning the same, having the memory of mine outward way, and how that I did see these things then, when that I was all in suffering of so lonesome a doubt. And she to hark alway very intent, and to move her head nice and intelligent, to show that she heard me. And once I saw that she looked sudden at me with a dear light in her eyes, but this to be done in a moment, and she to begin again, silent seeming, and in her new perversity of dignity. And surely she did seem so utter sweet in this new way of naughtiness, but yet did I think, odd whiles, that I should like to shake her unto dear humbleness and her usual way. This just keeps going. It's not as bad as the portion of the Dark Forest with the not imaginary girlfriend thing, which is just weird. But this is... And in the 12th hour we made halt again, and had our food and our drink, and the maid to serve me very clever and quiet, as that I did be her lord, and she an hushed slave. And I saw that she made a constant and naughty mock upon me, and truly, as I did half think, she to need that she be in care that I not treat her sternly, as shall a slave master, and to give her that which she did ask for so mute and impudent. But alway she did stir me mightily to have her to mine arms, and to love her very dear. And presently we did be again to our way, and to be yet silent, for that I scarce knew whether to have patience with mine own, or whether that I take her and speak seriously with her to cease this play, which did begin a little to dispirit me somewhat strangely. And in the end I went over to her, as we did walk, and I put mine arm about her, and she to yield to me without word, and to hark very quiet to my speech of reasoning and gentle sayings, and to hide whether she did be stirred inwardly or not, though, indeed, my spirit to know that her spirit did never be afar off from mine in all deep matters. Though, indeed, my spirit to know that her spirit did never be afar off from mine in all deep matters, but only this thing to be to the top, and to set somewhat between us that did be both a sweetness and a trouble. And alway, as I talked with the maid, I saw that she did make naughtily to act as that I did be a slave master, and she but a chattel to me, for she to be hushed before me, and neither to yield her slender body willing to mine arm, nor to resist me, but only to be still, as that she had no saying in this matter, and as that I was like to beat her at my pleasure, or to withhold my hand, all as might chance to be my desire. And this I perceived was the shaping of her actions, so that all her dumbness and her quiet obedience did be but a way to say this thing to me, and all to have come from her love of me, that she did be shaken in her nature by my manhood, and so to be but a new form of her naughtiness, that did have this change when I whipped her. And this you to perceive that have gone with me. And this you to perceive that have gone with me. He's talking to us, the audience. He's taking the fourth wall and kicking it a little. And I saw that she would not cease from this perverseness, but made a dumb and naughty and... frickadoodle. Transitioning back already. And I saw that she would not cease from this perverseness, but made a dumb and naughty and hidden mock upon me, very dainty and constant, and scarce to be truly perceived, save by the inward sense. And truly I grew something angered afresh, and to feel that she did need that she be shaken so stern that she come unto the reality that I did be her man and natural master, yet alway in love. And surely I loosed her then, and went off a pace to her side, and we again to go forward this wise, yet she soon to have a greater distance between us, which she made very quiet and natural, but indeed I saw what she did. Now, about the 14th hour of that journeying, I saw before us, in the far distance, the rock upon which did be the olden flying ship, that you shall remember. And presently... Oh, I just realized that was a now. Is there another now in immediate vicinity? There isn't. There is another one shortly. And presently, as we came more... yes, the olden flying ship that you shall remember. And presently, as we came more nigh, I looked oft to mine own, and I saw that she did be staring that way, and to be in wonder, but yet to say naught to me. And soon, as we came very close, I did want that I tell her about the ship, and of mine adventuring there, and of the wonder of that olden ship set there through eternity. But in the first I hesitated, as you shall think, because of her way, but truly my heart knew that her heart did be proper unto me, and, moreover, I should be small in my nature, if that I let any pettiness put a silence upon me, though, in verity, if that the maid had not been inwardly loving to me, I had been that I had told her no word, and this to be very natural, whether it be of smallness or not. And when that we were come beside the great uprising rock, I made her halt, and the maid to halt with me, and I showed her how that the thing upon the rock did be an olden flying ship from the mighty pyramid. And in the first she asked no questions, but did be quiet, and but to show with little noddings that she did be greatly interest. And I to show to her how that this olden ship did be there mayhap 100,000 years, and to have been there, as it did seem to us, that were of that age, since the beginnings of the world. Though, in verity, our two spirits did know that the beginnings of that age did be truly the ending of this, as you also to know. No, keep requesting them. It keeps me sane. It also spices things up for me, which is nice. And much I told mine own, and afterward concerning the two Humpt Men that did come after me, and she alway to be silent, until that I spoke of the fight, but then to come round upon me very swift, and with a dear light in her eyes, and had asked, before she did what, whether they did hurt me. And surely this to have been the first thing of her olden sweet naturalness that she did say for a great while, and I to be so in delight that I had her into mine arms, and kissed her very loving, all in a moment, and she to submit with a nice gladness, and to nestle unto me, and all unwitting that she did be gone from her waywardness. Yet, in verity, she did be a naughty maid, for she minded in an instant that she did forget her pose unto me, and lo, her lips did be no more than to search unto mine, but to be that they did be kissed only of my will, and she to have no more live nestling unto me, but only to be quiet in mine arms. And I looked into her face, and her lids to be down somewhat over her pretty eyes, and she did look very hushed and demure, so that truly I knew not whether to shake her, or again to kiss her. But in the end I loosed her, and made then that we go forward. Yet, indeed, she did rather stay a while to hark further concerning the olden ship and of mine adventurings. But she did then to mind that she obey as a slave shall obey, and truly I did punish her, in that I told her no more, but went forward at a good pace, and had some natural wonder how that I deal with such a maid, if that I spare to shake her. And surely I thought then again that I leave her be, and so to have her presently again to her old and natural way.
He wants the French. Okay.
You ask, and so it shall be, as I rub the microphone all over my face. is not so good.
Where are you? My French accent is atrocious, by the way, so I apologize for everyone who's going to endure this. Now, in a while, I lifted the maid into mine arms, that I carry her, as ever, through the last part of each journey, and so to have her never overtired for the morrow. And she for a moment to resist, but instantly to give unto me, and to lie quiet in mine arms, as that she had no saying in aught that did be done, but must always obey. And indeed, you to see how dearly perverse she did be. Here's a now coming up quickly, thankfully. And I went on then through 4 hours from that time, and looked oft upon every side, and walked quietly. For truly we were come now into a part of the country where I did feel I am swapping into something a bit more resembling a Mexican accent, possibly south of the border, which is much easier for me to do. I do not know why. And I went on then through 4 hours from that time, and looked oft upon every side, and walked quietly. For truly we were come now unto a part of the country where I did feel that there might be near some of the Humpt Men. I need to think garlic. I need to think I need to think Paris. But I saw nowhere anything to put me in dread. And alway as we journeyed, there did seem a great stillness in all the country near about, and afar off the low mutter of the great fire hills in this place and that, and a drowse as of life and warmth about us, and everywhere the air very rich and plentiful. I might have to just opt out of doing that ever again. I can't do the French. And presently, when that we did be come down from that high place where did be set the rock and the olden ship, we came in among the trees that came very nigh to the shore for a great way, and oft as we did go, there were clumpings of small fire hills that did cast fire and noise, and oft the roaring of monstrous springs a boil, and then again the smell of the woods about us, and oft still in odd places the low near sound of a fire hill that did burns lonesome in some clear space of the woods, in this place and that, and afterward we be gone onward again into the dull, low mutter that did be in all the air of that country, and that did but make a seeming of silence, because they did be so far and constant.
There, I hope you're happy now.
Okay, where are we? How close are we to being done? Because I am running out of time. Yikes. Okay, we'll be done by 3, that's fine. Where are we? Don't hit that button, that's bad.
It was not magnifique, it was a blasphemy.
I apologize to anyone French or Quebecois. I should have known better. Now, about the 18th hour, I do note that the noise of the great fire hills grew more loud, and I saw presently over the trees, the afar upward in the great night and gloom that did lie above, those 2 mighty fire hills that I did feel to make the earth tremble in that part upon mine outward way. And surely I have told you something of these before, and you to remember, if that you but think a little moment. Now, it may appear strange that I speak this wise of seeing the 2 hills of fire, as that I had perceived them sudden, but indeed I had been long able to see them both, yet to have no attention to them, because that they did be a great way off, and because they did be but 2 hills of fire, in a country that did be plentiful with such. And truly, I not to have said aught about them, only that our path did take us now by their feet, and I to see them, as it were, newly, and to have a nice ease of heart to perceive how that they did be a wonder unto the spirit and the brain for all time. For it did be as that the earth had a constant shaking within miles of them, and that a monstrous force of nature did be in that place. But then there to be no desolation around, as you shall think, but in all parts a wondrous growing of trees and great plants in abundance.
and the trees to grow upward upon the shoulders of the mountain, and there to be no falling of hot rocks and ash, as you'd think, but all very sweet and wholesome, as that the mighty valley made a chimney to the mountain, and mayhap to others, so that their waste, if that they had such, did go free. But, indeed, you shall take no heed of this explaining, save as an odd thinking that hath come to me, and to be without foundation. And there to be no surety of the reason to this, only that there did be no falling of ash in that part, as I do know. Yet in other parts of that country the fire hills did make new mountains of the matter that did come from them, but this not to be always so, and there to seem to my knowledge no cause to order why this did not be constant, save that my guessings to be right, or not to be blown from some. But, indeed, I to be sure only of that which did be plain to mine eyes, and mayhap there to be no mystery in the thing, but a score of natural explainings, if that I did know, or had patience to think long enough upon such. Now, when that the 18th hour did be proper come, we to be anigh to the great hills, and there to seem no wise any danger of falling fire, so that I sought about for a place for our slumber. And I found a cave in the side of a big rock, and the cave was dry and comfortable, and had the mouth about a score feet above the earth. And when that I had climbed and looked well into the cave, I gave the maid an help, and had her safe into that place, and she then to prepare the tablets and the water, the while that I brought up a boulder from below, to set very light balanced in the mouth of the cave. And this I meant for a signal to fall, if that any creature should climb upward into the cave, while that we did sleep. And surely you to know this plan, for I did it before, as you to have learned. And the maid sat near to me, and eat her tablets very quiet and with a demure naughtiness, but yet to be also in wonder, and to gaze outward at the great fire hills, and to be in awe, as I did know. And I put my half-anger and my play from me, and told her of mine outward journeying, and how I did go by these same mighty fire hills, that did seem as mighty torches to light me in my search, and to have held a new strangeness and wonder over my path. And she still to be silent, but yet to look at me twice or thrice with a very dear and loving way, though she did hide her eyes in a moment, when that she saw that I perceived her. And soon the maid spread the cloak for our sleep, and while that she did this I looked well about for any creature that might be anigh, and I had an especial thought unto the Humpt Men, but, indeed, there was naught living unto my sight, and nowhere did I see anything to put me in fear for our lives. And truly I had a great viewing from that place, for we did be in an upward rock that stood in a high part, and the cave to be 20 good feet aloft, as I have told, so that all made to set us in a lofty place. And the cave to look toward the 2 mountains that did rise upward no more than 12 good miles off from us, as I do think, and the country between to be somewise as a mighty park, for it was spread much about with the feet of the great fire hills, and did be bare in this place and that, as that rock did make the earth naked there, or the falling of some later fire to have wrought thus. And between the bare parts there went strange and romantic woods, seen mistily, and in parts the gleaming of waters, as that hot lakes did be half shown among the broken forests. And presently the land did go upward with a monstrous sweep, and was then in great terraces in the height, and the trees to grow very plentiful upon the mountains in sundry parts, and so those 2 mighty hills to go upward to meet the everlasting night, and presently to show strange uplands that did be seen very wondrous and queer in the light, that did glow from the vast glowing of the fire that did be a crown upon the hills, that did seem in verity to be that they burned halfway between that known world and the lost olden world, that was mayhap 200 great miles above in the everlasting night and eternity of darkness. And I looked upward for a while, and was much held by the mighty uplands that did be on high, yet did lie utter far below the burning crests of the mountains, and showed vague and sombre and dreadful seeming, because that they did be so lost upward. and to have the mystery of the red shining and of the shadows upon them, and to seem to slope far under the great fires, but yet to be a place where no life should ever come, because that they did be so monstrous a way upward beyond the great shoulders of the hills, the which did be themselves a huge way up. And truly I should give you somewhat of the affecting of those grim and unknown uplands, if that I said they did seem to my fancy to be a place where a sorrowful thing might wander lost for ever. But why I to think this thing, how shall I say, and do tell it to you, only because that it doth seem to hold in the thought the grimness and utter desolation of those high and lonesome lands. And by this I was done looking, and turned me about, and so did find that mine own did stand silent, and waited that I come to my slumber. And surely I looked at her, but she did have her lids something downward, when that she saw me turn, and so in the end I said naught, but went to my sleep, and had the discourse very handy, as ever, beside me. And I then to know that mine own did lie down beside me, to my back, as alway, and this to gladden me, as you shall think, for I perceived afresh how thin did be the crust of her naughtiness, and I to be always stirred and touched in the heart by her loving naturalness, that did need alway that she be near to me, save when she did play this naughtiness upon me along the way. And I saw that she had no mind to be perverse whilst that I did slumber, but must now be nigh unto me, and quietly loving, though nowise truly ceased from her naughty acting that I did be as an hard slave-master, because that I had whipped her, yet she to have somewhat a truce with me, as my heart did know. But indeed she not to kiss me good night upon the mouth, in her dear usual and sober fashion. And surely I did lie a while, and pondered upon the maid, and upon all her ways, and I perceived that she kissed me not, only because that she did not be able to break utter from her perverseness, that did come from the stirring of her nature. And truly I did love her, and was half-minded that I turn about to her, and take her a moment into mine arms, but yet to abide from this, because that I was set that I wait a while, and to bring her to me this wise, mayhaps. And presently I knew that the maid kissed mine armour, very quiet and shy, because that she must kiss me, yet to be intent that I have no knowledge of this pretty act. But indeed I did know in all my being, and did be newly tender unto her, yet to say naught, and to wait. And thus I knew presently that her breathing did go easy, so that I perceived that she was all content, and gone over unto slumber, somewise as a little child that doth be weary, and doth sleep without care, and with happy assurance. And, in verity, did a man ever to have so sweet and gentle a maid, that did be in the same time so troublous and perverse. And I to lie yet a while, and to note the constant tremble and shake of the rock that did be under us, and this to be alway thus as I did lie, and to be the more plain, because that I did be quiet in thought. And this, as I conceived, did come from the earth-shaking that was made by the inward fire of the world, the which did make a vague trouble in all that part of the land. And then in a little I was gone over into sleep, and waked not for 7 good hours, and then to hear the fizzing of the water, very brisk and cheerful, and so to have mine eyes open in a moment, and to know by my timekeeper or dial, that was somewhat like to the watch of this age, that I had slumbered through 7 good hours. But this to be learned after that I had looked to see whether mine own did be well, and whether that the boulder did balance in the mouth part of the cave. And surely there did be nothing in harm, for the boulder was there, as I did put it, and the maid a little off from me, and did make ready the water and the tablets, that we eat before our journeying. And I rose then, and in the same moment I did know that my mouth had been kissed whilst that I slept, and the knowing to come to me vague, as that I had been kissed in my dreams. And I looked over toward the maid, but she to have her lids something down upon her eyes, and to seem very demure, so that I saw her naughtiness was come again upon her. Yet truly I could not bear that I not to have her into mine arms, for indeed her perverseness did seem as that she did the more tempt me unto her. And thus I came to her in a moment, but she neither to resist me, nor to give herself unto me, but only to be still in mine arms, and to do no more than submit very quiet. And because of this I loosed her unkissed, and was silent, and a little to be angered, even whilst that my heart perceived the way of the working of her heart. Yet truly I ached now that she come back to her dear natural fashion. And I eat my tablets, and drank some of the water, and the maid to do likewise. And afterward I looked well from the mouth of the cave, but did nowhere see aught to put me in trouble for our safety, though truly, as presently I saw, there went an herd of strange creatures afar off in the northwestward part, which did be that way of the country, beyond the feet of the mountains, toward the inland. I gotta check that message that came through.
It might be important.
It was not important, thankfully. Now, when that I was something assured of the safeness of the way, I gat the discourse to my hip, and the maid to have the scrip and the pouch ready to my back, and her bundle to her hand, and so all to be ready. And I went downward from the cave, when that I was girt, and gave aid to mine own, and so to be soon upon the journey. And surely, as we went onward, and I to look about me with different seeing eyes from my looking on mine outward way, I to see how wondrous this part of the land did be, and how that it did be truly like a great and wondrous park, that did be made of the skill and labour of godlike things, and truly this to show my feeling, as I looked all ways. And all that part did be bred of the inward forces of the world, and did be burned clear in this place, and upheaved in that, and made to an hot lake in another part, and odd whiles there to go a great steam fountain, that did whistle a lonely song forever. And anon there to be a small wood, and again a wood, and oft the quietness of great and strange trees that did stand alone. And here, and in that part, a little fire hill, that did be surely no greater than an house, and we to pass 7 of these in but 3 hours. And 2 to glow very steadfast, and to make no vigour of burning, but the 5 others did burn very strong, and sent out a smoke and ash, and made a small desolation all about them. And of these 5 there did be one that cast stones oft and again, so that they went upward with a strange loud noise, and fell in this place and that, all about, so that we came downward more nigh to the shore, that we be a good way off. And here, as I do mind, there was a strangeness, in that there did be many trees that had stones set in the branches, and this to be plainly the work of the little fire hill, and I to think it but something new come, else surely there had been no trees within all that space that it did throw. But yet, mayhap, I am wrong in this, for all things did seem that they grew very easy in that country, and indeed this to be for surprise to me, only that I saw it with mine own eyes, as we do say. And alway, as we did go, there were signs of inward life and forces, so that we but to stand quiet to feel that the earth did tremble gently in many parts. And presently there sounded for a great while a low and dull booming sound, and this we found to be from a place amid certain great rocks toward the mountains, for there came thence a mighty upspouting of boiling water, that went so high as 100 feet, and oft to be thrice so high, and belched a great steam, and there went up in the jet of water a great rock, that was so big as an house, and did dance and play in the might of the water, as that it had been no more than a thing very light and easy. And when that the water fell, as it did oft, the rock to go downward with the dull booming that we did hear. And I minded how that I had heard the booming upon mine outward way, but had been then something more to the shore, so that it had been less plain to mine ears, as you shall suppose. Neither had it been then to my sight, as now it did be to us, because that we were come mayhap the half of a mile more toward the inland of the country. And truly we looked a while at this huge great fountain and upboiling, and came nearer unto it, but yet to be a large space off, because of the way that it did throw out a spattering of small stones odd whiles. And surely the thing did cough and roar in the deep earth, and anon to gruntle gently, and to sob and gurgle, and lo, to come forth in an moment, no, it is a moment, he didn't add an extra n, and lo, to come forth in a moment with a bellow, very hollow and strange, and the great rock to go spinning upward, and all ashine in the light from the volcanoes, and was so round as a monstrous ball, and polished by the fret of the waters, so that I saw it had surely danced in the great jet through a weary time. Such a great visual idea, as well as the sound effects that he's adding to it. And anon the jet to cease and go downward with a great soughing and a thundering of waters, and the dancing rock to fall downward from that height which did show very huge, now that we did come so near. And the rock surely to fall backward into some deep pit, whence came the waters, and as it fell there was again the dull booming. But why the rock brake not I could not perceive, save that it did alway fall into a boiling up of waters, and had no hurt from the rock of the place whence it was come. And the maid and I both to have stood a while, that we stare at this thing, for it did be more strange than I have made you to know. But now I did make to our journey again, and did think that the maid followed. But lo, in a moment, when that I looked, she was to my back, and went toward the great boiling fountain. Then I stopped very swift, and called to her, but she did take no heed of me, and went onward very naughty, unto the danger of the great boil of the jet, and the constant flying out of the stones, that you do know.
Now, even as I stood and looked, the maid drew nigh to the place where the water did thunder, and the jet in that moment to bellow, so that I knew it came upward again. And I ran then after the maid, and she did see me, and began likewise to run from me toward the monstrous fountain. And surely I did think that I had done well if I had been whipped or... And surely I did think that I had done well if that I had whipped or beat her proper before this time, for truly it did be as that her naughtiness had gone nigh unto somewhat that did be near to a wayward madness, so that as I did perceive all her nature did surely work in her toward some deed that should be for regret, and this to come, because that she did be something pushed from her dear balance by loving, and by the acting of my manhood upon her, so that her nature both to be in rebellion against me and to need me, all in the same time, and this way she to be in an inward turmoil, and to be ready foolishly that she put in danger her beloved life, if only thereby she to make me something adrift, and in the same moment to have some ease of her perverseness. And, in verity, you to know all this, because that I have shown the working of her heart to you before this time. Now, I caught the maid among the great rocks.
I could stop it now, because it's... Now I caught the maid among the great rocks which did stand all about, and before her there did be a monstrous pit whence came the upbursting of the water, and the water to go upward before our faces in a mighty column, so that it did be as that a sea shot up on end, into a pillar of living water, and went upward forever, as it did seem in that moment. And how we should be saved I knew not, for the water did be as that it overhung us, and should come down upon us and smother us in one moment forever. And the roar was in our ears, and shook all the air of that place with sound, as of an harsh and dreadful thunder, and there was a scalding of beaten water, as fine as an haze, all about us. And I had the maid in one instant into mine arms, and ran very swift, with a fierce running, that I have her away speedy, and so made forlorn trial that I save her life. And lo, as I went from under that huge and dreadful overhang of the great waters, there came downward from the height a great stone that had been cast by the jet, and it burst upon the rock to my back, and certain of the flinders did strike me and ring upon mine armor, and made me to stagger as I ran. But I held the maid crowded safe against my breast, and she did not be hurt, and truly I was yet able to run, and did save mine own, and brought her out from under that grim spouting. And I put the maid down then to her feet, and she not to know how near that she had given us to death. Neither of the way that the fragments did strike me, for she laughed very naughty and gleeful. But truly I laughed not, for my heart had been nigh hushed with terror for her, so that I did be yet sick in my spirit, and mayhap also something shaken by the blows that I gat from the broken stone. And in verity I to have meant that I flog her very sharp, if that there be no other way that I might bring her to reason. For in surety, as you to see, she to be acting so wild as a child, and so unreasoning as only a maid in love, and I to know that she did have to be brought back from this way of spirit, even though I have to hurt her pretty body, that I bring her again to her dear natural wiseness. Yet, indeed, I could not whip her then, because that she did laugh so joyous, though with a naughty heart, and did look so wondrous dainty, so that even her defyings did but seem that which my heart desired. And you, mayhap, to have been something likewise in the love days. Yet I pled and reasoned with her to be a wise maid, but, indeed, she only to make a gleeful mock of all that I did say. Now I went forward again, for I was not harmed by the stone, only that I did be shaked, as you shall think. And the maid did, oh, it's another now, shoot. Romulan? I don't even know what a Romulan accent sounds like.
It's a fake!
It's real! Deep Space Nine was a good time.
Personally, I'm a bigger fan of Babylon 5, but Deep Space Nine is good, don't get me wrong. Now I went forward again, for I was not harmed by the stone, only that I did be shaked, as you shall think. And I made to go offward from me, and to sing, and did oft dance naughtily as she went. But truly I did be silent with her, for I was but human, and did lack that she come to mine arms, and love me, because that I had plucked her safe from that place. And indeed this to be but a natural desiring, and you to have understanding with me, and to know that you also to have this lack and need, if that you have done aught for love of your maid, and she do deny you a word of loving tenderness. Yet in verity I to be even then to be able to, oh my lord. Yet in verity I to be even then able to there we go. Yet in verity I to be even then able to perceive with mine inward senses how that the maid did have a wondrous outpouring of love for me, but yet did be so perverse, and the more so mayhap because that her love did so urge her unto loving admittings that I did be her man. And she maybe to have meant that she be the more humble presently, but yet to go naughtily a while more, and not indeed to have had the power within her at that time to have come unto me, and cast off her waywardness, and ask that she be in mine arms, as all my heart did desire. And so, as I have told, I went silently.
I'm losing track. And so, as I have told, I went silently, and mayhap with a little dullness that did be part of anger and wit, and part of hurt, and part of that same strange love-foolishness from which the maid did suffer. And truly this doth be very contrary seeming, only that you have seen my heart, and all indeed the more human, that it doth be so contrary-wise on to the brain reason. Oh my god, the brain reason. And truly this doth be very contrary seeming, only that you have seen my heart, and all indeed the more human, that it doth be so contrariwise to the brain reason, and all to be desired, else did a man be no better than an ant, or a weariful machine. and this to be truth and wholesomeness as you shall perceive, if that you look deep enough, and do modify reason with heart understanding. For in verity how shall that which we call reason bring any to the full and the great knowledge? And this doth be a power of holy things, and doth be a child that is born of love and reason. And in the one to hold the two, and to know all things is the gift of this power, so that no man may walk truly that hath only the first, neither any man do otherwise that hath only the second. And surely I do cease from these thoughts, and to my tellings, and you to your harkings and dear sympathy.
Now, when the 6th hour did become, we made a halt and eat and drank, and afterward went onward again, and so came presently clear of the two monstrous fire hills, and their great noise to be presently to our rear, and likewise that great quiet country that did be round their feet, and did seem so utter hushed and strange, and doubly so because of the upward noise of the mountains, and because of the slow and subtle earth shaking that did be so constant, and because of all those things that I have told over and over and over and over again.
I spend my nights just mooning all over you. Now, when we had made halt, the maid had done her hair very uncomely upon her head, and had looked slyly to see whether I did note, but truly I took no heed, so that in the end she had it again in a pretty fashion, and did sing naughtily and with an heart of mischief, as she did shape it loose and wondrous nice about her head. And I still to have no word for her, neither to show that I did watch her with love and somewhat a... Yes, no, there's no comma there, you're fine. Neither to show that I did watch her with love and somewise a quaint pleasure of her perverseness, even whilst I did strive by silence and an aloofness that I bring her to my side, as she did be in the first days. For truly I did ache that she be near unto me, and to cease from her waywardness that did put a distance of spirit between us, as you to perceive. And so we did go forward again, as I have told, and the maid did strive that she make me to give attention to her naughtiness, for she did walk alway offward from me, and did sing aloud, and truly they did be songs strange unto me, but yet to be of love, and much as the songs of this age, for truly there doth be but one song upon all the earth, and she but to sing it in diverse ways. That song is, of course, Autobahn by Kraftwerk. On the Autobahn. And she did oft to make little glancing toward me, and did pout very pretty, and in a moment come something toward me, as that she did be humble, and would be forgiven, but all to be in a naughty mockery, so that, in verity, I looked not at her, save odd whiles, but to go forward alway, and made as that I had no heed of her doings. And surely this did presently to stir her to a new defying, and to a pretty anger, for she did sing other songs of impudence, that she did fit very clever about me, and this way to have a constant impertinence. And so we did go, and I never to speak with the maid, but to wonder when that she cease, or how long it should be ere that I did run swift to her and have her into mine arms, that I shake her and kiss her, all as my heart did desire. And when that the 12th hour did become, we made halt again, and eat and drank, and the maid to serve me very intent, and hand me the water, all the while that she went down upon her knee as a slave. But when I would have laughed gently at her mockings, and taken her into mine arms, she went from me very sudden and cold, and was afterwards silent, and did sit apart from me. All right, we've got a long now. About 2.5 pages of now. Give me something crazy.
Hit me with it. Hit me with it. Ack.
Let me scooch a little here.
Must move myself to become more comfortable in the seat.
Now I also did be silent, and I'm not going to do that for 4 pages. It's not happening. I'm not doing that for 3 pages. Let's see. Something I haven't pulled out in a while, maybe. Oh, that's the one. Mexican, we already did the Mexican. I can do it longer if you wish, but it is a long one. Now I also did be silent, and in the first because I was a little pained, and also because that I did be new touched with the love foolishness that did trouble mine own. But afterward I ceased from these feelings, and did be intent to another matter, for it did seem to my spirit that there was some danger anigh to us, and I had a thought of the Humpt Men, and looked well about, and did beckon the maid to come nigh, because that the trees did be plentiful thereabout, to hide any creature. But mine own came not over to me, so that I loosed the discourse from mine hip, and went that I be nigh to her. And she made that she saw me not, but did set the gear together, and had it presently ready for the journey, the while that I did look all ways among the trees, but indeed I saw naught. And when that I had the gear upon me, and the maid her bundle, we went forward again, and I to be very wary, and bid the maid keep close to my side. But indeed she would not obey, and went offward among the trees, so that I was all an hunt. Oh my lord, why would he do this to me? So that I was not you, the author, Mr. Hodgson. So that I was all an haunted with dread for her, and ran and caught her, and talked wisely with her. But indeed she did not hark to me, but did run off in the moment that I loosed her. And I caught her again, and I took one of the straps from around the scrip and the pouch, and I set it about her pretty waist, and the end I held in my hand, and so had her to obey me in this thing which did be needful to her safety. And they made to go with me very hushed for 2 great hours, and I always to look well about. And in the end of that time the maid did begin to sing impudently, and I did ask her that she be a quiet maid, lest that she bring danger upon us, but she to be the more impudent. And lo, as I did strive that I look all ways, lest any harm did come upon us, in the same moment to reason mine own from her pretty folly, she did grow very hushed, so that I looked round upon her in an instant. And truly, she had cut the strap with her belt knife, and did run away very swift among the trees. And surely my heart did slow a little in my breast, because there did seem something a move in the dark of the shadows, where the trees did grow thick, and the maid did run that way in her foolishness and waywardness. You don't want an Italian accent. You don't. You think you do. He has a giant pizza cutter. He really does have a giant pizza cutter. But it shoots a flame, and it cooks and it cuts. It's a wonderful. And I ran hard after the maid, and I did call her, not overloud, lest I bring somewhat upon her. But she to have no heed, and to run very light and swift, so that I caught her not for a half of a minute. Not for the half of a minute. That is really hard to say like that. That is very difficult to speak like that. So that I caught her not for the half of a minute, as it might be, for she was gone ahead, and I did be a little cumbered with a mine armor. And lo, when I caught her, I shook her, and I pointed her inward among the trees, for it did seem then to me that something moved there, but she to struggle in my hand a moment, and I can't keep doing that. And afterward to be still, and to ask her with an insolence and a defiance whether I did mean to flog my chattel. Whether, okay, we're going to take this sentence from the top, because it actually matters. This flogging chattel is hot, I guess. I don't know. Sorry. I'm not going to be... That was so offensive a stereotype that I feel bad about it. Very. So we're going to go with another stereotype instead. Sorry. And lo, when I caught her, I shook her and pointed inward among the trees, for it did seem even then to me that something moved there. But she to struggle in my hand a moment, and afterward to be still, and to ask with an insolence and a defiance whether that I did mean to flog my chattel, the which she did call herself in her naughtiness. And in verity, ere I did know, she had twist from me, and did run with a true wickedness straight toward that place where somewhat had seemed to be a move. And I ran then with all my strength, and with a fearful and an anxious heart. And because I put all my strength to the matter, I caught the maid in a moment, ere she be gone anyway. I don't know what I'm saying. I caught the maid in a moment, ere she did be gone any way, and she again to fight to be gone from me. But I took her into mine arms very strong, and ran outward from that place where the trees made a darkness. And surely, when I was come again to where the trees did be more spare, I saw that I was come nigh to that river which I crossed on the raft, as you shall mind, and truly I did be glad to feel safe in a moment. Yet I was firm now to my purpose, for I set the maid to the earth upon her feet, and kept my hold very sure upon her, for I did mean that I whip her, before that her love foolishness bring her needless unto death. I can't do an adequate Donald Trump, I apologize. I can get close, I can't really do it. And I took the belt from her pretty waist, for it did be but a light strap, and I whipped her very sharp over her shoulders with the belt. And truly she did make to nestle unto me in a moment, as that other time, and when I had whipped her. And truly she did make to nestle unto me in a moment, as that other time when I had whipped her. But I stayed her from this, and I set the belt thrice more across her shoulders, very sharp, so that she to learn wisdom at once, and I to be free for ever of this need to pain her, which did hurt me very strange. And the maid to stand very quiet, now that I did keep her from coming unto me, and her head did be something bent, so that I knew not whether I did mayhap have flogged her over hard, for I did be something lacking in knowledge, whether that a maid be very easy hurt. And now I stooped and looked into her face, and lo, she did be smiling naughtily, and kissed me in a moment very saucy upon the mouth, ere that I did be aware, and afterward she laughed and made me try to make a bitter muck upon me, and asked when that I should be pleased to cease from whipping my chattel, for then that she should run away immediately into the wood, and to trust the Humpt Men that they protect her from me. And surely I looked at her very grave, for I perceived that she did not truly jest, but made to anger me, and did be half in a strange anger herself, and something adrift, for she had not been whipped enough, but only to stir her rebellion utterly. And I saw that if she be not set right then, ere she leave my hand, she to be like to have some new foolishness that should take her unto her death, even as she had come over near already, as you to know. And this to be because that her nature did be stirred, so that her natural wiseness was all overset, and she to be that she do aught of unwisdom that should come to her, because of her pretty love-foolishness, which did now be made the more strong by reason of the half-rising of her anger. Now a Jamaican I can do a bit better. I can do that better than a Donald Trump now. And this way, as I have known, I perceived that, for her dear sake, I should not let my lovingness weaken me in that moment. And in verity I shifted my head and loosed the fastenings of her garment, so that her pretty shoulders did be bared. And her face to change sudden, and she looked up at me in an instant, and she looked up me at, okay. And her face to change sudden, and she looked up at me an instant, with a little gasp, so that I knew she did be all unbroken, as was mine intent, but she did not yet have learned deeply in her heart that I was minded that she to learn. For even in that moment she made a sound that showed like she did try to mock me. But truly she did not know in that instant whether to mock or to weep, though she did try to suppose that she had yet a heart for mockery. And I set the belt twice across her pretty shoulders, where they did be bared, and surely the blows did be very stern and sharp. And lo, in one moment mine own broke into another weeping, so that I took her instant into mine arms, and did hold her strong and gentle against mine armour. and she to be as a child in mine arms, and did sob very strange and bitter, boo-boo, as that she did be all undone in the heart. Okay, that's enough of that. And presently she did be quiet in mine arms, though I to feel how she did yet tremble, and she did cling tight unto me, and her face to be against mine armour. And afterward, when that she had ceased to tremble, I kissed her, and surely her mouth did be very humble, and her lids to be downward, and she to be something pale. And she then to be a while more in mine arms, very quiet, and so to come unto her dear self. And lo, presently she to want to kiss me of her own accord, and she put up her lips very sweet and as a loving maid that I kiss her. And surely I kissed her, with an humble and masterful love, and a strange pain to be about my heart, as you shall suppose, but yet my heart and my reason both to approve mine action, and the maid to be but the more mine own, and to have come again to her dear natural wisdom. I realize hopping accents in a scene where he is literally beating his paramour is kind of... seems like I'm making light of it. I'm not. It's pretty messed up. Certainly by our modern standards. Beatings are not okay. Better to talk it over, methinks. Yet, as you shall know, there to be for a long while a strange and mixed pain in my bosom, both dreadful and tender, because that I had been so stern with mine own maid, so that even while that my heart and my reason did approve me, my heart to make somewhat of reproach, and this to have been some ways of foolishness, but yet human of our nature, and a wholesome trouble to the spirit, if that this troubling be not allowed to shape our actions to any harmful weakness. That's not a very good Elvis. I can do better than that. I actually don't have a good image of his voice in my head at the moment. Now in a while. Oh, I know what I'll do.
Now, in a while, the maid did come to composedness, and to be very gentle and sweetly natural, and she made presently that she would have me to loose her, and afterward she turned her back to me, even as a dear child, that I fasten her garment again upon the shoulders. And she did be both shy and glad, and humble, and in dainty pride of submission, and mine utter own. And utter mine own. And surely, as I did this thing for her, I perceived that she looked with a great shyness at the belt which did be yet in my hand. And when that I had made an end of fastening her garment, she did nestle unto me for a while, and afterwards stood away and made shyly to show me that I put her belt again about her pretty waist. And I saw that she did be somewhat alack, yet that she touched the belt, because that I had whipped her with it.
Schmeagol? You want Schmeagol?
Part of the difficulty with doing a golem is so much of doing golem is bound in his particular cadence and speech patterns.
I can do something different, though. Now, when I had buckled the belt very nice about mine own, we went backward a space, until that we had found the bundle, which she had dropped, when that she ran off from me, and I saw also the portion of the strap which she cut, and so all to be found. And we went then at a good speed toward the river, for I was still minded regarding the seeming of movement which there had been among the trees, a very wishful.
And he is very wishful.
And very wishful that we have a raft made with haste, so that we might come to the little island where I did sleep before, upon the outward way, as you shall remember. And I thought to have our slumber again in that place, and to make the day's journeying something short, because that the island was near, and a good and safe place for our sleeping. And I told the maid concerning the island that she be in great delight and interest, because that it did be one of those halts of mine outward going, and did be all eager as a child, when I said that we should truly have need of a raft to come to the island. And we came downward to the shore of the river, and indeed there did be those two same trees that had been my raft there upon the shore of that place.
which I guess means they don't have tides. Well, there's no moon. Well, even if there is a moon, you wouldn't know it because there's no sun to shine on them. Never mind.
And we came downward to the shore of the river, and indeed there did be those two same trees that had been my raft there upon the shore of that place. And I showed these to mine own, and truly she did nigh to weep upon them, because of her dear emotions and love, and did cut a small branch therefrom with her belt knife, and put the branch where she did put the piece of bark, and this to be for a remembrance, and an after delight, and pondering.
Now we looked well in all parts, that we find some other small tree that should be fallen, and the maid did climb a rock that did be near, with a flat top, so that she might search out around. And presently she cried out to me that there did be a tree to our purpose, but 100 paces away, and she to go with me to show me, and to aid, if need be. But, indeed, I carried the tree very easy, and had it with the others, and afterward we went about again for branches, and these I cut from live trees, using the discos with care and wiseness.
I don't actually know who that is. Rick Sanchez? I don't know who that is. Sorry.
And with these branches to be for cross pieces, and our belts and the straps for binders, I set the trees together in a raft, and made it pretty good for our need, so that no monstrous thing in the river should have a chance to snap upward between the trees at my dear one. And when the raft was done, I gat it to the water, and the maid did lend her strength, for the thing was heavy, as you shall think. And when this was done, I pushed a sharp branch downward into the shore, and I hooked a branch of the raft about the mooring, and so did be nigh ready for the voyage. But first I did need a pole to push the raft, and did wonder now where the other did be gone, that I cut upon the outward way, for I had set the pole with the two trees, as I did mind, having some vague thought that mayhap I should live to come that way again.
I have not seen that, so I don't know. I apologize. Call me uncultured if thou must.
And I had a little strange unease that the pole did be gone, but scarce to know that I did be troubled, yet to set me to a new haste. And I bid the maid put the scrip and the pouch and her bundle secure upon the raft, and in that time I looked well about for a sapling tree that should do my purpose. And I saw that there grew an odd one from, and I saw that there grew an odd one from a little to the side of the flat-topped rock that the maid had looked from, and whilst that I cut it, the maid did come to watch, and made pretty chatter in the time that I trimmed the branches away. And lo, whilst that I did be part divided in mine attention between her dear talk and my work, and at haste that did be born of that little unease that was come upon me, my spirit to seem to be aware that there came danger anigh to us, and the maid to have this same knowing, for she ceased her speech, and looked at me with somewhat of trouble. And lo, in that moment, as I balanced the pole in my hands, there came the noise of a sudden bounding to our backward part, where the trees did grow something anigh. And I turned instant, and looked, and behold, there did be upon us an Humpt Man, very lumpish and mighty, and he stretched out his hands, and ran at me. And I had no time to the discos, which did be upon the earth to my feet, and I smote the Humped Man with the point of the pole that did be in my hands, and the point took him very strong and horrid in the breast, and entered in, so that the Humped Man gave out a strange howling, that did be half seeming of an animal and half of an human. And he clutched at the pole that did so hurt him, and I stooped very swift for the discos, and had it in a moment. And the Humped Man tore the pole out of his breast, and in the same instant I ripped him from the head downward, so that he did be nigh in two halves, for I had no mercy in mine act, even though my heart did be something sorry.
Keeping it okay. Say no more, boss. Now, even as the man died, there did be a sound of running in the wood before me, and lo, I turned very speedy to the maid, and she was there to me back, and had her belt knife drawn in her hand, for she had it in her bosom.
where she had put it when I took her belt for the raft. Didn't she also put the wood bits that she's taken in her bosom? I'm not sure where she's keeping things. I don't think they've said if the undersuit has pockets or not. Just put it to her breast, so maybe it has like a chest pocket. Anyway.
Bosoms, lads! Where she had put it when I took her belt for the raft. And I caught the maid about the waist with me left arm, and was come with her to the top of the rock in two great
Houndings, it says, but it's gotta mean boundings.
in two great boundings. And I set her there upon the rock, and turned again to the way I came, and swung the discos free. For indeed I had seen that there did come a number of the Humpt Men among the trees. And there time for some crumping, boys! And there came running from the wood mayhaps a great score of the Humpt Men, so that it did seem to me that we did be going to die. For how should one stand against so many, and they so quick and strong, as you shall mind?
It's transitioning to something else that I'm trying not to do.
We're going back to a pirate, apparently. That's not what we're trying to do.
Listen here, boss. Yet in verity I had no despair, but did be mixed in the heart with a great fear for mine own, and a strange and exulting gladness that I should do that day some deed for mine own maid, and truly this to be the pomp of love and the heart cry of the barbarian, as you shall say. And this may be, but truly I did be proper human, and to make no excuse because that I was natural, neither have I hid anywheres aught that I did think and feel. I'm not going to do it the rest of the way for the whole zogging book. There's like 100 pages left.
Sorry, it's not 100 pages.
There's like...
If it's page...
There's a lot of pages left. It's a lot of pages. It's not quite 100. It's like, I don't know, 80 pages. It's a lot. Neither have I hid anywheres aught that I did think and feel.
No, that's not it.
And whether you approve or not, if that you condemn me, you should condemn all humanity. And Orc he's gone orky now. He's very orky. But he's saying if you condemn him, you condemn humanity, not orkishness, and to have vain words and vain regrettings, for these things that be named for faults do but be the complement of our virtues, and if that you slay the first, you may chance to wither the last, for now I speak of things as they be now, and as they did be then, and nowise of lovely ideals that do live chief in the mind, and so much in mine as any, as you do know, if that you have gone with me all along me way. And surely I must cease from more thinkings and go forward with more telling, for the Humpt Men did come forward at a wondrous quick run, and did swarm upward on to the rock, as that they did be panthers, and they made no outcry, but came silent to the killing, and I saw that they did be something smaller than he that I had but then slain, and in verity I did be all knit in that moment with speed and cleverness, boss, for I split the heads of three, but with quick turns of me wrist, as I did wield the discos, and I kicked the face of another in the same time with my metal boot. He's got a crumping, so that he died. For there did be all my strength and all my skill working then for our salvation.
Oh, thank God there's a now. That's hard on the throat.
However, I'll convert over to something more violent. Now, all this to have been done in but a few beats of the heart, as I might say, and these men to have been in the front of the attacking. Yet there did be no space to have breath, for there leaped three more of the men upon the rock, and one smote me with a great piece of rock that he carried. That's right, they do the rock carrying thing. So that mine armour did seem as that it cracked, and I to be driven up backward upon the maid, yet had slain one of the Humpt Men even in that moment. And surely my dear one caught me in her arms behind and steadied me, so that I fell not, and I slew the Humpt Men with the rock, even in that moment whilst mine own held me, and as he came again to strike me. And I then to be firm again upon my feet, and did spring at the third of the Humped Men. I'm really having a hard time holding to it. And surely there was no room that he should be able to avoid me, even did that be his intent. And he came at me with a great leap. And I stood strong, looking clearly to my work, and I swung the discus with both me hands, and the blow took the Humped Man in the middle part, and split him, whilst that he did be yet leaping. And in that instant there reached over the edge of the rock 2 of the Humped Men, and gat me by the feet, so that I was pulled sudden to my back very hard and bitter, and this to be done even whilst that the body of the Humped Man did be yet in the air. A lot is happening very quickly, and the body came forward over me, and did be utter dead already, and fell down upon the rock up beyond me, and rolled horridly, and went over the edge of the rock. And I did be all shaken and something bemused by the hardness of my fall, and the hands of the 2 Humped Men plucked me sharp to the edge of the rock, the while that I did strike vaguely to wound them, but did only chip the rock, and fortunate that I harmed not the weapon. And lo, in the moment that they had been like to have me downward to the earth into their midst, I had to make a good stroke, for I cut the shoulder of one very dreadful, so that he loosed me, and immediately I kicked very fierce with my freed foot, and surely I nigh crushed the hand of the other with my metal boot, and he likewise to cease from dragging upon me. And immediately I knew that mine own did be helping me, that I get instant to my feet again, for I was yet something dazed. And there came then a rush of the Humped Men up the rock, and truly it did be a glad thing for our lives that they might come up only upon one side, for the other sides did be utter steep and smooth worn, and this to have been unto our saving, as you shall think. And I stood up to the rush of the Humped Men, and did smite hard at them, with quick circling of the discus, so that the great weapon did glow and roar. And they gave back from the blaze and the sound of the discus, and surely then I ran in upon them, whilst that they did be something bewildered, and I gat the foremost man full upon the head, so that he did be dead before he did know what thing happened. Yet in verity did this did be a dread moment to me, for the Humped Men leaped in at me upon every side in an instant of time, and I did be struck upon my headpiece, and upon my back and breast with the stones that certain of them did carry, so that I rocked as I stood, 'cause I got rocked. They rocked me, so I rocked, so that I rocked as I stood, and did near to swoon, and mine armour to be all dint and bent upon me, and I truly to seen that I had come to the time of my dying.
Well played, you git, he says. Well, you're welcome, it's a pleasure.
It's actually very hard to read this lock and oak when the syntax is all different. It's not as easy. And lo, in that moment of time, there did come to my dazed sense a low and bitter cry of anguish from the maid, and this to set all my life aglow in me. And in verity there went a strange greyness of fury before mine eyes, and I then to fight as I did never fight before, and I did smite as it did seem forever. And the greyness did cease from mine eyes, and the maid did have her arms about me as I stood, and the dead men to lie heaped upon the rock, and mine own to steady me, for I did be near slain, and the blood did go from me, and mine armour was all broke upon me by the smitings of the sharp stones. And I looked something slowly upon mine own, and she to know that I would ask whether that she did be harmed anywise, and she to be very brave with me, and to tell me that she did be well, and she to be all slain in the heart because that I did be so hurt. But truly I had fought a good fight, and did lack only to know that she come to no harm. Give me 1 sec, I'm getting a phone call. I'll be right back.
There we are. Sorry about that. Where were we? Almost done here. I am rapidly approaching a point where I have to run anyway. Here we are. Now my wits did come back into me very soon, but I did be utter weak, and scarce to stand, so that I did mind only that I get mine own safe unto the raft, and to be put off then from the shore. And to put off then, not to be put off then, and to put off then from the shore. And I walked slow to the edge of the rock, and looked well about, that I learn whether the Humpt Men did be all gone away, and the maid did steady me. And lo, there came up in that instant the last of the Humpt Men, and they were 5, and did creep very stealthy, that they have me in surprise. And I loosed from the maid, for I saw that I must come upon them whilst that I had any strength left in my body, and they now to leap upward unto me, so that I gat the first upon the head, and he to go backward, dead. But truly I did be more weak than I knew, for I swayed upon the edge of the rock, and sudden I went downward to the earth, and did be there upon my knees, and my back to the rock. And in verity the Humpt Men did come in upon me very swift, yet did they give back from the discos, which I swung to and fro, so speedy as I might, for my weakness, which did be so utter that I could nowise come to my feet to stand. And mine own came down swiftly from the rock, and ran past the Humpt Men, and I to make that I shout to her to go to the raft, but truly I had no voice in my body, and did be dumb and weak, and did know that I should be gone forever from mine own in a little moment, and she to have none to protect her, neither to know the way of our journey, save by reason. And behold, mine own did shout to the Humpt Men, and I perceived that she made to draw them after her, for she ran 2 and 4, and did shout continually. But indeed the Humpt Men had no heed of her, but did make alway to come at me, and surely in that moment one of the Humpt Men reached me, and smote me so shrewd that sure he nigh cracked his monstrous hand upon mine armor, and did drive me backward upon the rock, and to make me bleed afresh, so that I was all in a daze, and near swooned away. And the Humpt Man caught the discos, yet in verity he loosed it on the instant, for it did burn and shake him very sore, and immediately he smote me again, and so made to end me. And lo, in that moment the maid ran right in among the Humpt Men, and she struck the man that strove with me, and drove her belt-knife once and again through his arm, very savage and determined. And surely the man turned upon her, and he caught her by her garments, and he ripped her 2 garments utter from her, so that they came away, and she did be free. And behold, mine utter despair for her did give me new strength, so that I shouted to her that she run instant to the raft, and I cut the Humpt Man in twain, and did fall back then into a part swoon against the rock. And lo, the maid ran out from the Humpt Men, but they neither to know whether that they follow her, or that they come in upon me. And as they did pause, she to call to them, to try that she tempt them from me toward the wood, for she had no thought of her life, but only that she free me and save me, and I too weak even to have power to command her to the raft, and she, truly, to have no heed to such command, even did I thus to call again. And there I did be, half gone out from this life, and looked at her with eyes that did scarce wot, save as in a dream. And lo, the Humpt Men ceased sudden that they heed her, and the 3 that did be left came very sly unto me, and with slowness and cunning, for they wotted not whether I did be dead, or but a wait for them. And the maid perceived that they came not after her, and she let out a great cry that did be distant seeming in my dulled ears, and came back, naked, running very swift. And she ran by me as death should run, white and silent, and her face set unto despair, and her eyes utter intent. And she struck her belt-knife Yes, struck. And she struck her belt knife into the shoulder of the near humped man, and the man howled and turned, and she did leap to the side, and the humped man ran at her. But lo, she leaped again this way and that, and utter silent, and so quick as a light doth. And so quick as a light doth seem to dance all ways in a moment. And the two other men did join with the first, that they catch her, and behold, she went about, and did run right away among the trees, and the three men did come after her, running very lumbersome, yet with a great speed. And at this point I should point out that, again, this is a person who survived about the same duration of time that our protagonist did, but without any resources whatsoever in her neck of the Nightlands. So you don't do that unless you've got something going for you. And she does. Quite a bit. She's speedy. And the maid had the knife in her hand, and I knew that she did mean to slay herself presently, when that she could run no more, and in that moment it seemed that my heart burst, for I should never more see mine own maid forever. And there came some power of movement into me, and I came forward from the rock and fell over upon my face. And I gat again to my knees, and began that I creep after the maid, and I did shout in whispers, for my voice had no more power to call. And the maid went from my sight among the trees as a far white figure that did run very swift, and was presently lost utter to my sight. And the humped men did go after, yet even in my weakness I perceived that two did go something clumsy, as that they had been hurt in the fight, and they to be the rearward of the chasing. But he that the maid did cut with the knife was to the fore, and did run very strong. And surely they were all gone inward of the trees with a dreadful speed, and were lost from me. And the world did become sudden an emptiness and a great horror, and there was no sound in all the earth, as it did seem. And I knew that I was come to my feet, and did run toward the trees, and the discos did trail from mine arm by the hold buckle, and the ground did be as that it moved and shifted under me, and I not to feel where I trod, but did only peer desperate and lost among the trees, and, as I to know now, I heard my voice calling strangely, and afterward there was a thundering in mine ears, and I came downward upon my face. And I did know presently that I was alive, and there to be some dreadful terror at my heart, and surely I did remember, and sickened, and gat my head from the ground. And I looked among the trees, but there did be nothing, and everywhere there did be a strange silence and a dimness of unreal seemings. And I knew that mine own was gone from me, and had surely died. And the earth did be all stained about me with my blood, and I did be utter glad, for I to need death. And I swooned again, and was lost to my pain, but did live presently to know. And there was a little strength come into me, and I gat my head up somewhat from the ground, and did peer among the trees, and my head did be too heavy, and my face came against the earth once more. And because that I could not hold up my head, I rolled my head a little, until that my cheek did be to the ground, and I to look this wise so well as I might. But there did be nothing. And afterward I rolled my head again to the other cheek, and so to stare very weak and desperate, and not able to look proper to my front. And lo, there went something among the trees that did show white in the gloom of the wood, and did come through the trees. And I not to believe in the first what I did see, And I not to believe in the first that I did truly see aught, and sudden I to know that I saw somewhat. And behold, my heart did bound in me, so that all my body did waken, for I knew that mine own maid did run slow and staggering toward me through the wood. And I did be now upon my knees and upon my hands, and did begin again to creep and to bleed, and did make little callings to mine own, that had no sounding. And mine own drew anigh, and did rock and stagger, and did strike anon against the trunks of the trees, as that she did be gone near blind with her running. And in a moment she saw me, and that I did yet live, and did come unto her, and she made a strange and loving crying unto me, with a great gladness and with an utter weakness. And she came running, and was lost with faintness, and did sway this way and that, stumbling, and she went sudden to the earth, and did be still. And I crept onward so speedy as I might, and the earth to seem alway as that it moved from my hands, and to slide, and this seeming to be of my weakness, for my hands and my knees went every way, and my head to be that it kept nodding forward very stupid to the earth. And lo, as I came anigh to the maid where she did lie so quiet, I saw that something moved in the wood, and was running. And truly it did be an humped man, and came forward very silent, and with a quick slyness, as that he did track the maid secretly, for he looked alway to the earth. And I perceived that he was that one of the humped men which the maid had cut with the knife, for the blood did show upon the shoulder and the breast, and this bleeding mayhap to have slowed the man, so that mine own did be like to have supposed she had come utter free, yet he to have found her, by tracking, as I perceived. And I strave to my feet, that I should come to the maid, before the humped man, and surely I gat upright, and went with a strange running, and did roll, and lo, I felt immediate, ere I was come to her. And the humped man to run also, and surely it did be a dreadful race, for I went creeping, and did be weak, and as that I was of lead. And the humped man came very swift and brutish, but I came the first to mine own maid. And I rose up at the humped man upon my knees, and I swung the discos, and the great weapon did roar in my hands, as that it did know and did live. And the humped man ran in upon me, but I smote him truly with the discos, and he ran past me, all blundering, and fell and died upon his face, a little way off. And lo, my wounds had brake out into a great bleeding, and my head did roll upon my shoulders. And I looked down dull, yet with an utter great love upon mine own, and there did be no proper wound upon her, but yet she was all bruised and knocked and marked with the trees, and where she did fall in her running. And she did be there very still and dear, and I to have brake my heart with love for her, but that I did be so dulled, as I have told. And I fought that I should be strong a little while more against my weakness, and I strove that I set mine ear gently upon her breast, that I should listen for her heart. But my head did go downward something clumsy and heavy upon her, and I then to hearken, and surely she did live, and her heart did beat, though, in verity, mine ears did have at first a thundering, but afterward a quietness in them, that made the sounding of her pulsing to seem an utter long way off, and very faint it did be. And surely, in that moment, even as I harked, I was gone over into a deadness, and had no more knowing, neither to have even a knowledge that I did be slipped from my senses. And, behold, the maid did lie swooning, and I to be there in my broken armour, and my head upon the breast of mine own, and likewise to know naught, and about us the quietness of that country, and the far noise of the great fire hills that did sound through eternity. And with that, I have to call it, because we've gone on quite a bit longer than I anticipated. Oh, sorry, I don't really know how to do a Squidward accent. He's the octopus guy from that one show, right? Oh, I don't know if I can do that one. He's very nasal and annoying, and I don't really know if I can get the right drawl going. Anyway, I can try that later. I'll practice in a mirror. So yeah, I've got to run. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. If you're wondering why we did a million different voices, it's because I accept feedback live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 12 noon Eastern, U.S. East Coast time. Next week should be fine. I thought it was going to be next week that things were going to get weird, but it's going to be the week afterwards, apparently. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. Things are going to be silly. Hopefully things will quiet down quicker rather than later, and I'll be able to get back to something resembling this, our normal schedule. But until then, I gotta run. Stay safe, stay sane, be decent to each other, and until next time, toodaloo.